and then it should say virtual backgrounds, which is where you put your background.
And make sure you don't
She's
have
on a
green
phone
screen.
though, so she might
Video
not be able
filter.
to.
Oh, maybe video
I can-
filters.
It's not gonna work on the phone. I don't think.
Like I too can have a mustache, like fucking Josh.
You want them, huh?
Look at my mustache.
Man,
Oh,
I
maybe it
just
doesn't. Maybe it doesn't.
I'm so jealous. I can't do any of these things.
Like I can also be a pirate, you know, or a bandit. Or also.
Hello, everyone.
Flowers.
I can't.
We are doing some last-minute prep here on a few items.
The French.
Because we've got
Hey, baby,
all
do you ever find
new
a photo?
stuff tonight.
Oh, I got distracted by the filters.
I can see the gaze.
Literally me all the time.
It's the gaze.
Let
Did
me
you
see if I
lose a
still have
photo
that
on
back.
your flooded computer?
Oh, maybe. Let me
You know,
see.
you
Though.
beautiful
It might
flooded
have
computer.
saved. Oh, shh.
This is so
Rip.
weird.
Man, I really
What potato?
wish I could do
Is
this.
anybody else on Capybara
jealous.
TikTok? Because I feel like that song lives rent free in my head. Am I
Which
the only
one?
person?
Why?
Capybara. Capybara.
It's because you have children.
Yeah,
That's
no,
why you
right.
have to.
It's not. I
It's
swear to God,
because you
because every single TikTok of it is just capybaras. It's just capybaras swimming or like sitting on top of like crocodiles and like moving around.
What does that say about you, though, when you think about
I
it?
don't know what you're
Like,
talking about.
Listen, you know I appreciate animals. I'm gonna send you
you
one.
know, I
so that we
appreciate
can-
a good capybara.
All right. As we get ready tonight, we haven't watched this. This is an appropriate time. Many of you may not have seen this, some of our newer viewers. So let's go and check out the
I can barely hear
OG
it.
Anna B. Meyer
I'll send it to you.
Greyhawk Awakening map. Let me kill the ambient audio
It's
here.
beautiful.
Oh, we can play Heads Up.
Sea of Dust. What?
Look at this.
Sea
I'm
of
looking at the apps
Dust,
you can
what?
put in Zoom.
I sent it to you, Hop. Now watch it and enjoy.
Wait.
Oh, we can add healthcare services to this Zoom call
Oh.
We can.
and human resources
How's the audio
That's
level,
great.
everyone?
and Kahoot.
Kahoot!
Yo, let's play
Kahoot.
Kahoot.
Let's do it.
Can you guys hear the audio on the map? Sounds pretty quiet to me, but how so far so good for you, Pat? Can you guys hear the audio on the map?
Yeah, totally.
Capybara.
I don't even.
Are you listening to it right now? Listen to it.
Oh my god, hold
It's
on.
gonna get stuck in your head too.
Just-
It can live rent free in your head too.
Capybara.
Capybara.
It probably gets quiet when the players speak, which is good. It should do that.
That's Josh who's speaking.
Hey,
Yeah, there it is. I can hear it. Capybara.
my favorite one is the one.
It's so quick.
The
It's
legless
so quick,
cat
but it's a TikTok. That's why.
and the legless. I think
The
capybara.
legless what?
Capybara.
It's. Give me a second. It's the.
Never heard of that one before.
No, okay.
Now you just look silly.
Making me feel old.
It's all. It's just.
Thank
the
you very
memes,
much.
Demon
I
Gun.
appreciate that, Wonder Weval.
The only capybara one that I know is like, you kicked my dog. You kicked my baby. You kicked my freaking baby.
I send that one to you as many times as I get it. No matter.
Call us stinky poopy
Poopy
babies.
babies. 'Cause I hear that and I'm like, Hob. This is just Hob. This is something Hob would say.
That one's funny. That one,
kicked
it had
my
to grow
dog.
on me because I used to
Kick my
think the
fucking
capybara.
dog.
You
Wait,
killed my
Josh,
dog.
you send other people chats
Becca?
and like, videos too?
I honestly
That was our thing.
don't know what on earth is happening to my players tonight, but I
What?
guess this is what happens when you TPK them. They just lose it altogether.
Honestly, you've fallen into madness.
Fallen into
Honestly,
madness.
so the funny thing I was talking to you about how you're all dressed up. Speaking of how fancy you look right now, I swear I was looking through like because I was trying to find that most recent episode, like the last episode of book 1, and because of my search on my TV, on my smart TV, everyone was covered except for you and then me in the corner. So I'm like scrolling, and I was like, what the hell's my hair curled for that photo? Like that doesn't makes no sense at all. And why do I look like half decent? And I was like, oh, because it was a dress up episode. Because didn't you say that you were gonna dress up and then we all just ditched and then like because you came from something. It wasn't a dress up
No,
episode, but you
no.
came from something. No.
Oh.
The first dress up
Oh.
episode, you came from something and you were still dressed. And
Yeah,
then
we all
we
went-
all left, and then we all left and we all came back dressed up really nice.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yes,
Just because, to make you feel like you were the only one who was dressed up.
yeah, no. So that was I'd forgotten about that. John, by the way, you can come back on. John,
No,
Demon
John.
Gut.
John, get back in here.
So hello and welcome everyone. We're gonna have a good time tonight.
John.
We have a
He's our silent man.
We should have the Seinfeld intro. The
True.
I need like a door. I need a thing where I like open a door and then come in and sit down at the
yeah,
time.
please.
Yeah. An animation.
Oh, John.
And a bowl of something.
He's just like
Walking
Kramer.
by your apartment door. I thought I'd sat down.
It is yes, it is very much the Johnny Cash DM look tonight, chatters, and we will get to some gaming tonight.
Wow.
My players are almost all in black. Vivi, I can't tell if that's that's not quite black. It's gray.
It's like a grayish
I
black.
love how on stream
Come
Vivi's like
on.
cut off, kind of.
It's a
It's okay. You don't need to see me.
it's a
Just the
pseudo.
neck up.
It's a night of pseudo mourning, which you can tell then what Hob would wear to a funeral with the Zeppelin
Led Zeppelin
shirt. Yeah.
shirt.
Yes.
Well, somehow no one is surprised.
The dead approve.
Oh,
Yeah.
are we supposed to dress nice for this?
If you actually ever read your messages, you might know things like this. But
This is what
Wait, I'm in a gigante sweatshirt. Do I need to go change?
Yes, you do.
you're awesome. You're awesome. Hello. All right. So, Mad Chatters, you're going to be a big part of the first. Well, you're always a big part of our whole show, but we really want to hear from you in the early parts of the show tonight. We're going to spend about the first hour. I don't have a hard clock on it, but about the first hour, maybe a little bit more, doing a recap of book 2, and also it'll be some highs, it'll be some lows, it'll be the times of laughter, tears, and adventure, and also kind of piecing maybe some bits of the puzzle together that will help newer players like Hob and Becca, that are still trying to understand the story that have happened across now 106 episodes of Greyhawk Awakening. Let's call that a good 300, because many of the episodes are over 3 hours, 340, 350 hours of streaming. Shockingly, some people actually go and watch all of that on our YouTube. I am just so honored that people do that and they get caught up with it. It just blows my mind. But tonight we're going to do that, and then we'll go to the town of Hommlet, the end of book 1, and I have that little video clip, about 5 minutes, that we'll share at the end of book 1 that'll get everyone caught up there as well. But with that as the intro, thank you everyone for being with us. I'm joined by this magnificent group of players, and we're going to go ahead and have each of you introduce yourselves quickly, and we'll go to characters later. Just tell us who you are, where we can find you on your socials, and we're going to start with you tonight, John.
So I'm John Fuller. I'm Demon Guns. I have a company called Virtual Tabletop Journey that primarily produces some 5e content and Tailspire stuff. I've been doing all things Tailspire for probably 2 or 3 years now, so I'm here primarily to run the camera and do Tailspire things so John is free to tell the story and stuff. Other than that, I kind of heckle, I think, is where I'm settling into my role as the co-DM heckler. And we'll see where it goes from there.
Not only that, but and by the way, John, for those that are wondering, he offered to do this. He and I had collaborated on a couple of things. He was in one of my one-shots for charity. I jumped on one of his Kickstarters, and we both were fans of Tailspire and some of the boards and stuff that he was creating. He introduced me to Astalri, who you guys saw on stream with us for that charity one-shot as well. And we kind of connected. He's also working with me on many of the custom things we're making for book 3 of Greyhawk Awakening, which are all of the Athasian assets, the monsters, the flora, the fauna, the terrain, some incredible guys like Gonsplitter, SimCity. How do you pronounce that?
I think it's SimCity.
SimCity, and it's not spelled like SimCity, it's SETE. And then also Baladrox, who has that automated terrain generator. Super cool stuff. We've got custom music coming from Triskel Clefs. Joffrey Dice Songs, our newest sponsor, and in fact, he's on tonight. He and I just finalized the first track for book 3, so a lot of work is going into that, and more to come there. Let's go to you, Becca. Becca with the big hair.
I'm Becca. Becca Self. I am relatively new to D&D. It's been, I don't know how many months now, but it doesn't feel long enough. I really enjoy it. Nothing big on social media. I have a Instagram and Facebook. If you guys want to friend me, you guys can reach out, but nothing, no projects or anything like that. I can thank John and Rory for my first taste of D&D. It was at Blue Box Con this last year, and Rory was DMing, but it was all because of John. We're gonna give him all the credit for making me this have this obsession. So, thank you, John.
Well, my honor, and you definitely do have product. I can see it's in your hair. You look awesome tonight. All right, let's go to you, Josh.
Hi, I'm Josh of NBC Voices. I am here on Tuesday nights as part of Blue Box. Been playing D&D for years, and I'm a voice actor and actor based in Los Angeles, California. Thank you.
All right, let's go to you, Hob.
Hey. So I had to clear my throat. Hi, my name's Hob. Man, what am I doing right now? Oh, that's right. I forget. I have a website. My girlfriend just made me a website recently where you guys can find all of my commission stuff. I'll start accepting commissions through there. I have a bunch of Blue Box stuff coming up, so that's going to be super fun. A lot of new art, a lot of new character art. Be working on some TLG stuff
There's
as
some
well.
character art now.
That'll be cool.
Sorry. I didn't
Oh,
My
there
bad.
it is.
Is your stuff available at Drive-Thru RPG? By chance?
On what?
DriveThruRPG.com?
Did it answer your question, John?
Yes, it did. So, Drive-Thru RPG, if you
I
don't
actually don't know what that is.
you go there to buy like all these third-party adventure modules. It's the equivalent of DM's Guild, which is where you buy official Wizards of the Coast modules online.
You just used one
there's-
French word to tell her it was the equivalent of another French word. She does
Sorry.
not know what DM's Guild is either.
Artists like Dean Spencer, who does lots of stock art. When you write a module, you need art for it, right? If you're not going to go do the AI route, you need real people's art. And so he has a Patreon where you get so many tokens a month. You can go to Drive-Thru RPG where he has his entire library, like thousands of images, and you just let him know that you want them, and you can buy them there. So, like the stuff that you made of the character art, those character models, people would totally buy those to put in their adventure modules and stuff, or
Yeah.
posters. So
Yeah.
I was just checking.
Well, now I'm going to do that. No, that's great. I'm going to start doing that immediately.
Yeah, if you need help, let me know. It takes like 10 minutes to get set up.
Absolutely.
All right.
So, soon that.
And guess where else you can find Hub? You can find links to all of that on blueboxrpg.com. And so you go there and you can click on our sponsors and it goes straight to her website. And she is absolutely fantastic. She'll have all new
Awesome.
artwork for book 3. We've decided not to do the rest of the custom artwork for book 1 because this is an interlude. For those of you that are just joining us, we will play some D&D tonight. This is not just a talk show, but our party in 3 years into a campaign, we are 1.5 years into a second book of the campaign. There are 3 books currently that are planned for the campaign. That could change. TPK'd last week. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that and one ran. Everyone else TPK'd last week. And we're going to talk about that tonight, and then we'll jump back into that game, and we'll be playing tonight in about an hour or so. Go ahead, Rory.
All right, can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yeah. Okay, well, because of the such formal introduction from the last one, my name is Rory Self. I had the pleasure, like Becca said, introducing her, but I introduced her to 5e and then threw her into John's blended world of beauty.
Chaos and pain.
Yes, thank you. As far as like projects, I'm still working on my company, which is Foundational Cooking. We're hoping to go beta live in June, but the website is finished and up, and it's a meal planning, organizing, make life simple, because I don't like complicated type of resource.
Very good. And
That's why I like 5e, because it's simple.
And last, but so are Nerfs, but the NFL doesn't play with them. All right, Rizia, go ahead.
Well, we're doing introductions. Hi, I'm Mimi. You can find me on Instagram at the DM's Quest. I kind of post all sorts of D&D stuff, mostly mini painting. However, I've been kind of silent because my IRL life has been too stressful for me to do my hobbying, so it's kind of quiet. But you can always message me. You can ask anybody. I'm usually always down to chat. Discord on Discord, on Instagram. Are the two places you can normally find me. You can message me. We can chat about anything. I always enjoy talking about D&D stuff. It's always my favorite. So send me a message, as I'm not working on anything else. And that's it, right? Is that all we're doing?
That's it. That's it. We started there, getting everybody a chance to get in, and now we're going to go ahead and kick off our book 2 recap. So let's start in the town of Relastra. City of Relastra. For those that don't know, that is a major city on the eastern coast of the Flyness. In fact, let's go ahead and pull up the map of the incredible Anna B. Meyer. And so you guys, by the way, have an OBS Ninja link I shared with you. It's viewing my screen. So anything that I show, you'll see real time like the audience will. Helps you. So here is Anna's map. And if you're familiar with, here's the Flyness. And the party in Book 1 began over here in Hommlet, in Verbabank, probably the most familiar area off-traveled in the world of Greyhawk. But Book 2 began all the way over here, fully on the right side of the map. If you watched the pre-roll today, or the beginning of the show, you would have seen that animated map, and it covered many of these areas. So over here, just east of the Great Kingdom, you have the city of Relastra that sits on the eastern coast, right by the Solnor Ocean and the Aridie Sea. And this is a very interesting city because it is a city which is, as a city, aligned neutral evil. It is ruled by an animus known as Drax the Invulnerable, with his fiend Sage ever by his side. And this is where the party began in the city of Relastra. So let's go back to that first episode. And Josh, tell us a little bit about Liam.
Wait, you said we were only talking for an hour. Right?
I just need about 5 minutes to go through all of my characters. Liam was a front doorsman to a brothel called Lady Luck. He had a significant other that was known as Phelan. Liam ran up to assist a few wayward wanderers because some fighting was going on with the Grey Guild. I think it was the Grey Guild. And then he skewered himself on a sword straight through the heart. So episode 1 within the first 20 minutes.
Now understand, as much as Josh whines, Rory, how many of his characters had died up until this point in all of Greyhawk Awakening, in the 52 sessions of Book 1?
Well, none.
He had never
John.
He had never had a character. So this was his baptism into Book 2. He goes charging up the stairs. Someone is running down with a sword pointed out. And this level 1 character takes a blade right through the chest, does skewer himself dead on the spot. Then there's
didn't help that it was Nat 1, the Nat 20.
There's it's the dice that tell the story, but it's also the players that make the choices. We may get to that a little bit later. So you're running up the stairs, you skewer yourself, you die, and then Phelan comes into the story. Phelan was a really cool character. And you hadn't really even revealed that connection, I think, early on between Phelan and Liam. If you had, I didn't know it at the time. I think, in fact, that might have been something that you helped create later when Phelan was introduced, or no, was that from the beginning? Wow, okay.
That's from the beginning.
Yeah, okay, all right. So how did Phelan die?
How did Phelan die? I'm trying to remember. I remember when he died. He was by a rock. He was laid down there, and they moved onward from his death.
He was in combat.
Yeah, I remember it was in combat.
Because it wasn't at the Spider came at first, and she was like, "I need help," because she was running from like the guards and stuff.
No, that was Liam. That was
Oh, we made it
Liam.
past
It was Liam. Oh,
That was
Yeah.
Liam. Yeah, no.
It's
Phelan died after we had
mind.
already left Relastra.
Yep.
He had all his money on him, all his possessions, all that mattered to him.
Phelan and Anaho were checking out a trap, if I remember right, like a decoy trap.
Yeah, I think that's right. And so, and you joke about all the characters you've had die, but it was only those two, and then Rasmus
Sorry.
survived the rest of the book, and they both died early on. So the joke about how often Josh's characters dies was formed because he lost 2 in like the first 8 episodes, I think, of the show. But then Rasmus stuck to the end. In fact, ironically, the guy who was laughed at for having characters die is the only one that survived last week.
Because I was a scared cat.
So Rizia, tell us about melons. How did the melons get started?
Oh, yeah, baby.
the melons were totally an accident, and that's because me and my brain. And then you started my character off, to be fair, by a stand of melons. So me just having like the brain of an immature 12-year-old boy. I had to go with it. So
That's good. That's
you
giving
put
you
me by
credit.
a melon stand. So I had to go with it, and then it just became a thing. And then I just ran with it. So she loves melons.
It became a
But
thing.
it is actually
Go ahead.
Pardon me.
No, so it became a thing, and it became some really fun fan art.
It did, yeah. And I did make a character with melons on the base for Rizia.
Yeah,
I'm just sad that she died before she got her hands on a nice juicy melon before. You know what I mean? She hadn't had one in a hot minute, so.
yeah. I think Rowan had the same regret.
Yes.
So.
Some hot juicy melon before
so.
you died.
So,
I don't think they're supposed to be that hot.
so the
Oh God.
the Mad Chatters, I want you guys to be able to pop questions in and things that you would like to ask the players. So Mad Chatters, if you have any questions from book 1, or book 2 rather, if you have any moments from book 2 you'd like us to talk about, Mad Chatters, pop that in the chat. Amanda will pin it for us. Although she's had a long day today, hopefully she'll be able to pin it for us. Thank you for joining us, Jester. But yeah, so the melons definitely became a thing. What other moments do you guys remember from Relastra? Like, what stands out to any of you?
It was awful.
Sucked.
I hated it. I wanted to be out of there so bad.
It stands out that everyone seems to have disdained, or maybe that's too harsh, but I'm going to put disdained Anahu's behaviors.
Hey, I did it.
Well, yeah, because you were dead.
Exactly.
Anahu would always loot the dead bodies, particularly our party's dead bodies. And I didn't get poisoned in the beginning.
And that was freaking
yeah.
amazing that you did not get poisoned at all the whole time. Like, I'd literally just been here battling for my life, and you're like, because I didn't drink the drink. Like, that's literally what it was.
I guess I'll come. I guess I'll come.
Yeah, I guess I'll come. I feel bad for you.
Oh my God. There's no way you said that.
No, he didn't. He didn't, but that was definitely the vibe.
Yeah, so exactly. And so the way he avoided that tavern scene was an interesting one. That was another one where, as a DM, you prepare a scene. And when this has come up a lot as a topic. You prepare a scene and you prepare it to be realistic in the game. In the game, a party of this is a first level party that is in Vane Roberts' Chains was the name of the tavern in Relastra. And inside of Vane Roberts' Chains, this newly formed party who's just been duped by the spider. Suddenly guards charge in. I describe them as tall, heavily armored, full plate armor. They are the elite force of Drax the Invulnerable. I believe there were 8 of them or 10. I can't recall.
There's a lot.
I know in my mind it was intended to be and was a show of overwhelming force. The party really was not supposed to fight. But of course, it is always the option of the party to fight. So when I say supposed to, I'm not saying that the DM, punish them for doing something else. I'm simply saying that you could, in any situation in life, you could find yourself in something that fighting is not really a good option, right? I mean, if I were in a bar tonight and 10 armed police officers came in, I could choose to fight.
Come on, you can take him.
But
You should fight.
it's maybe I should. I don't know. But it's probably
Brawl.
not going to end well for me. Well, similarly, we had a couple of player characters. I'm not going to blame the players. The characters were of a nature that they felt to play their character, they would have to fight and resist these guards, which then turned into a party-wide resistance, which turned into a party-wide defeat and death. Go ahead, Josh.
I want to make a note that Phelan did not fight, but it was also because he was poisoned, passed out on the ground.
That's right, he was
the whole time.
Yes,
The whole time.
yes, you were.
I didn't fight either. I don't think. I think I.
No, you
threw my
did.
weapon
No,
down.
Yeah, you did. You fought.
Did I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you fought.
Oh well.
You went
You
down.
signaled
But
to
you
Naho.
told the Naho not to.
Because remember,
I told
the
the Naho, that's what it was.
yeah, the only ones who died were the ones who fought. Remember, there was death in that scene, and Drax, this is one of the only 2 times in any of my Greyhawk that there has been a raised dead. Drax did give the opportunity. He tried to bring them because the goal was for you to become his servants, right? You were poisoned for that purpose. So half of you guys are unconscious, the other half fight. Moria dies. Taldar dies, I believe. Yeah, and then and then Rizia dies, I think. And then you're brought before Drax, and the effort to raise is made. But constitution checks are made as well. Moria failed her constitution check, and so that became permadeath. She was unable to be raised. And that brings you to the next scene, which you guys will remember this one. So here we are in the jail beneath the palace in Relastra. I'll go ahead and play. This is a clip from a new...
Such a good shot.
Thank you. It's a clip from a new trailer that we have. Rory pulled together clips, and this is underneath the prison in Relastra. That's pretty loud. Let me turn that down. I'll have to turn down up here. Sorry, so kind of went ahead. But that shot, we're going now into Tears of Aird. But that shot there in Relastra really, I think, captured the feel of the city of Relastra and the pace of Book 2. So in that scene, when you guys are there beneath the jail, what memories do you have of that time, that scene?
The memories of the scene, it was awful, I think, because we all woke up not really knowing what the heck was going on. And I think the stone thing was very confusing too, because the whole situation was so sus. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, and a little white stone, like down the stairs. And then you're like, why isn't anybody grabbing it? We're like, because we don't want to. It sounds like death.
It sounds like death, yes. Go ahead, Josh.
I don't remember so much the interrogation, everything that went on when it was the Fiend Sage and Butthead. But I remember when we were let out and Spider was in the other cell and letting her out and then dragging her out, using a wakefulness potion to get her up, and then just like, you better not F around with us. I will cut your throat.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And she never forgot that. Spider turned out to be a halfling, not a little girl, and plagued the party, followed behind them all the way. So yeah, it was 100% sus. It was supposed to be. But what's interesting is it's based in lore and canon. So this is part of the interesting thing that's happening here with Greyhawk Awakening, is that we're forging new ground, we're telling new stories, but we're using so much of the canon and lore of Greyhawk. And so it is lore that Drax is an animus. It is lore that his Fiend Sage chafes against that the rope he has around his neck in service to Drax. And so he's the one that drops the stone. And this is the party. The party's first. I could tell the most sophisticated, hilarious Robin Williams rolling over with laughter in his grave joke, and Josh would be stone faced. I accidentally say the word fart, and he has just lost it. This is what I've dealt with.
You didn't say farty. To be fair, you said farty.
We're the Farty. That's our new character name. We don't need Wayward Bull. We're the Farty.
Somebody make a character named Farty. Write that down.
Write that down.
All right. So where was I going with that? Yes. So the first interesting note for the party is that you realized you now had two evil entities, the Drax and the Fiend Sage, with differing ends, both interested in your goal. The goal of the party was what? What was the party told to do, Rory? What were they after?
Go get a green bone.
A green bone. What were you told about that green bone? Vivi, do you remember anything?
I don't know, because he wasn't down there.
A green child's bone. Vivi, anything else you remember?
You're asking me if I remember anything?
Yeah.
It's just the memory of a goldfish. Yes, it was a bone of a child, right, that we're supposed to bring back to Drax.
Yeah.
For some sort of crazy ritual that we don't want to know what the heck he's up to.
Well, okay, but so let's this is a little bit obviously we're talking things that mean nothing to Hob and Becca right now because their characters were not in yet. They weren't playing
Everything
yet.
was a blur.
Yeah. But hold on. So let's connect this to book one. How does this bone in any way connect to book one? Rory?
Wait a minute.
Was abducted?
Wait a minute, Vivi. What?
Is it Halia when we were in that little tomb thing with Halia? Is that the bones? Those bones?
There was the crystal skull.
Oh,
Yeah.
there was a skull. Interesting. Way back in session 0.
Green.
Way back in session 0 of so that would be 107.
John, I don't even remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday. Never mind session 0. My goodness.
Well, hey, Vivi, you remembered that. You were the one that remembered that. Yes. So you were the one that brought it up. So yes, in session 0, in a tomb, an abandoned tomb, you found a very strange small skull that had a strange glow to it, and Halia became very, very interested in and took that. Remember?
Yes.
Halia, who was with the party, she betrayed you. Now, what organization?
I clearly remember that.
What organization was Halia part of?
Dark
Two
Brotherhood.
chains.
2 Chains. She was part of the 2 Chains. That's right.
I remember them.
The Dark Brotherhood. That's right. The 2 Chains. And so Halia, she bounced. She became the first sort of arch enemy of the Book 1 party and also plagued them until you killed her. You guys did kill Halia later in Book 1, but it was but it was but if you'll recall, it was too late. She had already set her plan in motion, which is what concluded Act 1 of Book 1, right?
What a butthead.
So let's go back to now. So
I agree with Antiquitous, and it was Ashrin.
It was Ashrin
the whole time.
The whole time.
I consider it to be a DM badge of honor if you can create truly hateable NPCs, John. If you can create an NPC that everyone loves or hates.
I still feel so bad. Ashrin got all the hate.
She was so nice too, but everybody still hated her. Well, I think they were very suspicious of my female NPCs because they'd already been betrayed by Halia.
She was not so nice. You know how much sass that girl had?
I loved
you're saying women aren't allowed to have sass? Why is that, Vivi?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying she was sassy.
Vivi,
messed up.
One of our paladins run off.
Ashrin was thank you. Rob said that Ashrin was anything but nice. She laid out sass at very inappropriate times and for no good reason when we were already giving her good, nice friendship.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So I want to resume this point.
She's a mean girl.
She was maybe. So we're going to come back to that in a second. I don't want to lose this track with the bones because that's important. But let's come back to a question we have here in chat. It's been sitting for a while. Thank you, Manda. And we do want more questions or moments to be talked about from the audience. The question was asked by Alex, Antiquitous. Have you all prepared in advance for your death scenes?
No.
For this character?
I'm not sure what he didn't clarify.
Yeah, I was like, no. Brim's my first character with this.
Yes.
I left
every
everyone was
character.
Dead. I was not prepared.
Oh yeah, Becca didn't even.
That was her first ever D&D death.
She wasn't
even there for it.
Wasn't even here for it.
That is wrong.
Took it from her.
That is wrong.
Yeah, John.
Couldn't
messed
even
up.
wait. Couldn't even wait.
Well, and look, honestly, like Becca, it is one of my sort of unwritten rules that characters don't die when their players are gone. To me that's
weird.
That's lame. You know, it shouldn't happen. But when it happens, as part of a total party kill, it's kind of unavoidable.
Well, but the problem is, John.
Yes.
It wasn't a total party kill. So, in her defense, as I stand for the defendant, I believe that Val should still be alive.
Is a ghosty boy, and he's really just hanging out now.
He's actually just still alive.
One of the ghosts.
Overruled.
He's on an island.
Yeah. Those could hang out with the ghost if I push my sister off the roof.
Call this to order. Call this to order. Overruled. I have this. I have a really cool blue box stamp that Manda and Mike gave me.
That's so
I'm
cute.
using that
Like
for
wax.
Yeah, it's a wax stamp.
That's so sick.
All right, so back to I'm not sure what the answer was, but I think yes, they are preparing for their deaths now, but they were not prepared for their deaths then. I would say the end of book 2.
Is he talking about making like Rory's like video, like memorial videos that he makes? Is that what you're asking if we're prepared for? Because if that's the case, then no, because all of those videos always make me cry.
Stop and play a montage, like just have it on hand, like ready to go.
Hey, all of our raiders that just came over from Troll Lord Games, thank you so much for being with us tonight and for joining us. We are going to play D&D tonight, but you all happen to be joining right as we have just seen effectively with one that ran a total party kill last week. And so we are moving to another chapter with a different set of PCs that have played before. So this is it's a lot to explain to the people who are just raiding in. But trust me, we will be playing some D&D tonight. But right now we're rehashing a bit of what happened last week and the events of the story. So if you're new to Blue Box, it's a great chance for you to get a little bit in on the story of this ongoing campaign now, which is in its 3rd year, but it has separate books. And so it's a great place for people to jump in at different points and still catch up with the story. So if you have any other questions in the chat, please pop those in. And if you're raiding tonight and you haven't yet, go ahead and give us a follow. We would appreciate it. And we're close to 100 viewers. And you guys know what happens if we get over 100 viewers for any length of time. The dinosaurs come out, much to my chagrin.
Oh, good.
That you need to wear your dinosaur shirt with your blazer.
With my black suit jacket.
Yep.
Okay, back to the bones. This is important. So you had the bone of a child. It was specifically mentioned it was a child that you were trying to recover in book 2, and it was an artifact. You had a crystal skull small as of a child that was found in book 1 at the very beginning in session 0. Anything else that kind of relates to that you might recall?
Yeah, there was like the crystal eye things that were.
There was a crystal eye. Oh. Does anyone remember where you found the crystal?
In the
was that in that sand temple?
Yeah, it was in the sand temple.
When Gimble was taken, Melly held on to it. And great.
That sand temple, you're not sure where it was, but it was wait a minute. It was somewhere.
In the deserts. It was in the sands.
The deserts.
Almost like where we'll be in book 3.
So there was an eye, and that eye was of great interest also to the Dark Brotherhood, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. And Halia had it. You guys got it. Then you were holding it, gave it to Burn, the mage, right?
Oof, that poor guy
got burned.
And Burn,
literally,
as we'll talk about in a moment, Burn died the most horrific of all deaths possible. And we'll talk about what happened to him. Well, guess what? He doesn't have anymore. All right. So you've had this passage of different components. Go ahead, Rory.
Did we find 1 or 2?
One.
Did we give Burn one and he lost it, or did we?
No, you only had one.
And we gave him the eye shield.
That's right.
Millie had it when we sent her out to the sea.
Oh, that's right. Millie had it when you went out to sea. That's right, because he gave him the eye shield, and then Millie had it and took it out to sea.
We took the eye back from her, didn't we?
Right, but I'm sorry, that's what I referenced. So her body was set out to sea with the eye. And
yes,
you can
take it.
You can imagine.
Forgot to take it.
Yeah, you didn't take it. You forgot that it was with her.
Took everything else.
And
it's okay.
Given that
they probably won't get it from her.
No, these things are very locatable. So yeah.
Nope. No, I don't think they'll get it.
You're sure about that?
They don't.
Oh, I'm very sure about that.
They can't swim.
They can't.
They don't have scuba diving.
They can't fly.
Yeah,
they can't fly. They can't swim.
Sonar.
They don't have any magic.
Paddle.
All right. So with that. just keep that in your mind. So you now have actually seen 3 different components, which have this similarity of being crystallized artifacts of a small child. That is interesting. All right, now back to book 2. So there are a couple more tough sequences that occur. And I'm missing here. I'm going to pop the chat window up and move it over here so I can see your chat without it popping up on our screen. Josh, behave.
Oh, yeah. Secret messages.
So you then travel north, and one of the first things you find traveling north is this graveyard, this ancient battle site along the road where you find all kinds of remnants, armor, rusted. You found some coins. That was that was actually one of my. I enjoyed that scene, and I enjoyed the combat there. Do you guys take away any memories from that, or what happened there? There was something interesting. That was the first time you got to watch one of our new characters do something that happened there at that battlefield.
We fought on new characters though. I know who that was. Balin at that time, right?
Rasmus was in.
Rasmus?
Oh, that's right.
And
That's
you
right.
were like, didn't you use a sword at that time?
It was the druid, whatever, Fern, that was able to talk with the ghost, I think, the elven ghost, and be able to like feel that hardcore role play of her fallen people within this cursed elven battlefield. And then of course Phelan was like, okay, I hear the voices, this is fun.
Exactly. Yep. And then those coins actually got used later in a negotiation with
Yaj.
Yeah, Yaj. So you guys traveled north. There was a lot that happened. The crazy old woman outside the town, the chimera that assaulted you on the road. Manticore. Yeah, you're right. No.
Gosh, Joe.
No, it was a chimera.
Wait,
it's a manticore. No, it's a manticore. Yeah, you're right.
It was a manticore.
Sorry.
Gosh.
I'm sitting here staring at this guy.
Oh, yes. It was a manticore because we cut its head off.
That's right. It was a manticore.
Back to the town, didn't we? And we're like,
and she was like, you killed my pet.
Yes. She was bitter at the loss of her pet manticore.
And I was like, well, I got to go. Bye.
So that takes you further north, and we're skipping over a lot because I don't want to take too much more time. We're going to go about another 10 or 15 minutes and hit some high points, and then we'll wrap up and get into the gaming tonight. But you then wind up, you go north, you uncover so much. Rizia, her knee, the giant that you fight. You see Anaho continuing to struggle. You learn more and more about his story and the dark past he had as a slave of the Drow. Then eventually, though, you hear a familiar voice and you smell a familiar cologne. And a book 1 character makes an entry into book 2 for the first time. What was your initial reaction when you how'd you feel or what'd you think when you heard and smelled Yaj talks?
I think we always groan when Yash comes, but I mean, it's always a good time when Yash is around.
Oh, it's always a good time.
Despite how much we groan, we're like, oh, here he is, here he comes again. But it's always a fun time. Like he's good shit, even though he has his quirks, but he grows on you.
Exactly. He finds himself quite the ladies' man,
yes.
and has gotten in trouble quite a bit with that. But Vivi, I think this was an important encounter for you because he, I think, in Rizia's estimation, gave her something that she had not had since Relastra.
A choice?
A choice.
Melon.
A choice. Yeah.
What did you say, Rory?
What'd you say? A melon? No, she got plenty of melons.
I mean, he also gave me that, but like a choice. A choice is nice.
Yeah, so he offers you a choice. And then you, Anaho, you did some bartering with him, right?
I did. Some coins for either some nice, really nice daggers or a dagger, or some potions. And it was the time that he had to make a choice on which one he took. One to benefit himself or one to either really benefit himself or benefit the group, being the potions. And he took the potions.
Yeah. Question on timeline. So something incarnate. This is 40 years advance from the original. So when Hommlet and the original Greyhawk timeline was published, which is circa 576. So we're 40 years past that. So we're 6. Rory, you're doing the same thing in Red Dawn. You guys are 6 what?
620. 1 and year 22.
Yeah,
yeah.
We're around 620 in the common year in the Flanness. So about 40 years past the events of Hommlet, and
Wow.
yeah, it's been an advance of that long inside.
What's the current year in Greyhawk or whatever?
Well, that depends on. There's Greyhawk has been around for so long. There's so many different versions of it. You had a Greyhawk Awakening. You have some people that are, a Greyhawk, Living Greyhawk rather. You had a Living Greyhawk that advanced timelines. You have some people that are playing in them. So Greyhawk
He's
is
avoiding the question.
Well, it's essentially it's a dead world.
He's saying, I don't know.
It's a dead. No, I'm. It's
John doesn't know.
I would tell you if I don't know. What I'm saying,
No, I'm just curious. Is it like your campaign's timeline? These are the years, kind of just to coordinate, and there is no like the current published adventures are coming out in the year 1500.
Correct. That's the question I'm trying to. Yeah, there is no published event because it is the Latin.
Okay, I just wasn't curious. I just didn't know, so I didn't know if you were following.
He doesn't either.
The sequence of events or not.
It is the Latin of game worlds. It's dead. In the sense that WotC, the publisher, doesn't support it anymore. So everything that's done that is created as far as new canon is all fan based. It's all player based, fan based stuff. So there is no actual official year for Greyhawk. Is the point? Yeah, the last published source was, I believe, 598. That was part of the Living Greyhawk stuff, right, Robert? I think they carried that forward up to around that point. Okay. Any other questions in the chat? And let's get to yes, they did. They re-released them, but in the same timeline. Okay, so then you get to Last Chance through you travel up the Raker Mountains. That was a long journey up the Rakers. We skipped over Spine Castle. I loved the Spine Castle side quest, the Temple of Hextor, the dungeons underneath, Rizia first breaking out this power that she has to thunder her fists against stone and crack and break chains. You have the morgue encounter where Anaho falls inside the well. What were you thinking at that point, Anaho?
Inside the well.
When we went into Hextor's temple.
You remember the water way down?
And it was the chain that hits you.
And I had to pull you out.
Oh yes. You see Anaho constantly says
His swan dive.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys understand this. I don't know if I can.
Go
he's
ahead.
Dead.
Yeah, he's
So I'm
dead.
gonna go
Yeah,
ahead
you
and
say whatever you want.
It's
It
doesn't matter. He's dead now.
Anaho is on the archetype of the trope of a Stitch, right? Like Lilo and Stitch, right? Anaho, Ohana, right? And so he hates water all the time. He keeps telling you guys in ways that he hates water. With the ring after the graveyard in the rain, he got stuck in a bad mindset. Water. Rizia, eventually you guys picked up on this. Like after the well thing, Rizia's like, oh, I've got to wipe him off. Got to wipe. So when he was down in the well, it was the same thing. Like it's dark, not just wet. It's dark, and he's in water that's obviously deeper than him. And there's a legit monster in here. Like it's literally the worst thing of his.
Yeah, all he saw was the glowing eyes, and then that long tongue laps out, and then the first one, Valfino with the swan dive.
Can I just say that I am amazed that Valfino lived through that? I was not expecting him to live through that. I was like, let's just play him. He's a risky kid. He'll take this jump, and then he survived. That was amazing.
Glorious.
It was wild.
And wasn't it Rasmus? When you dove in, you actually hit the cage on the way down, didn't you?
Yep. I slammed into that thing.
And then I think I hit Rasmus on the way down.
Yep. You fell onto me.
That's right. Exactly.
Not everyone can pull off it.
So I think that was
I'm going to be as smooth as...
No one can be as smooth as Val. They slip in and out.
And so Rizia basically saves the whole party, and you guys get out. You go past the golem with all the blood and the chopped up body parts.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yummy.
Rizia, Vivi.
Oh yeah,
was it at this point that you started to decide you wanted to die? Because I think it was at this point you stopped taking healing potions.
I don't think it was necessarily about wanting to die, but I think it was in her sense. It was her bond with Anaho, and at the time, Anaho definitely needed that more than she did, so she would always try to sacrifice that for him. Like you guys were the one who like dove into this well and all that stuff, and she's just outside, so she was fighting a chain. So I mean, realistically, in the grand scheme of things, based on her needs, she didn't really need that healing potion, and she felt like you needed it a lot more because you guys got way more whooped than she did. So I don't think it was a decision that I just wanted to die, but it was just a decision that she made in regards to her kinship with Anaho, and the fact that he, through thick and thin, through all the BS, like no glyph on his hand, he still decided to stick with her from day one and continue to be by her side and fight and try to fight this cause to get a glyph off of her hand. It wasn't even anything that was off of him. There was no reason for him, you know what I mean? There was no cause for him to really have to go. Like, he could have left at any point and he decided not to go. So and she already kind of was marked for death. So at that point, for her, it's like, if I die, then I die. Whatever, I'm already marked for death, but it's not worth you dying for. So that's kind of why she would choose not to take the healing potions.
Because you did that constantly.
I did. Yeah, because you were a lot more whooped, and the same reasonings why. Like, it just in her mind, I'm already marked for death. So it's like, well, whatever. If I die, then it's whatever. It is what it is anyway. I'm already ticking time bomb. Like, I don't want you to die, you know?
And yes, Mark for Death was a 1980s film.
That's cool.
Wrapping that question up.
Well, no, it was in the chat. So,
so funny.
So before, I want to talk a little bit more about Beneath the Temple. You encounter the cultist. The first time I really upset my mod Manda with the massive spider dropping from the ceiling. Valfino getting pinned underneath it.
That was fun.
Look, Val and spiders, they just don't mix. Like...
Not a good martini.
So that was, and you know, there was that was a really interesting scene that you had there, and then you recover the key to Spine Castle, which then actually turned into a one-shot. The key to Spine Castle I used for a one-shot. I think it was Virtual GaryCon last year, and the theme there was that the key was taken from them and actually used to raise that undead army, but then the party recovered it and felled it in the one-shot. But that whole thing was Gary Julian stuff from Dragon Magazine, and it was a really fun adaptation put into book 2. Count Dunstan, of course, he was the guy that was, I think I hear an ad coming. Yeah, hang on one second. Oh, there we go. We don't.
Do
really
you also suffer from hemorrhoids?
Side effects include
Side effects include
Blue Boxafel
in your home in the middle of the night.
Wait, what?
Playing guitar for you.
How do I do that?
All right, so who
Just like that.
before we skip to kind of the rakers and some of the final scenes, who has like moments from the campaign that you would think of as either some of the worst or best in your own mind? Humorous moments. I've got one in mind right now, a character that I really enjoyed, that I think had an impact on the players and actually made it into the memorial video for Rowan. But what other moments do you guys recall that maybe I'm not thinking of now?
I liked oh man, I get these confused now. I think it was Phelan that had made the potions, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Erasmus. Phelan.
Yes.
So Phelan started making like the growth potion.
But you still had.
Right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yep.
But like, so, you know, Rizia messed with them in the cell, and then after we freed the spider and went to the tavern with the spider, Phelan's like, you know, I got this stuff. And he tried it out on Anaho and lost all his clothes again.
Again?
Again for me, but first time for Anaho. But just that kind of, there was humor in that, like, Alora, like, brought out the wood fist, right?
Right.
She was intimidating. Anaho got big off of the
That's right.
potion. And humorous because he lost his clothes, so it was just a fun interaction.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I enjoyed that. And of
really
course,
fun.
with that, and then also with Rowan, our PCs were often nude in book 2.
Good times.
Yeah. I mean, not voluntarily.
It was all Rowan's
as
fault.
long as you've been alive, like Rowan's been alive, like how do you just not carry like extra clothes with you? Do you know what I mean?
Expand
Like,
it or something.
She did have a backpack.
But not enough. Like you need to start going Hulk
Yeah.
shopping, like a little bit of like
Need some
elastic
spandex.
in there. Yeah, spandex.
Yeah. Can
Well-
I just get some chainmail that grows with my body, please?
Yes.
Well, I mean, such things could exist, but what's interesting is I think Hobb often described Rowan as a bombshell, and so I suspect it was intentional that she never had spare clothing. I don't think that was accidental.
I did it for the boys. I did it for
for the boys, you did it for Rizia.
Yeah, for Rizia.
You're right.
It was
you know
part of
what?
your
the real reason.
part of your effort
Dude, that's
to.
one thing I'll always be so sad about. Just because there was so much potential, and I was just like, aw. But it was also great that Rowan died, and then Rizia just never got to have that moment ever.
And you know the
So
the
tragic.
pebble in the water, you know, you wonder what the ripple effect would if Rowan had died or had not died. Would that have changed what happened at Shadewall? Would the party have reacted differently? I don't know, maybe. It was just interesting how all that played out. Other moments.
Val would have had a will to live. So maybe.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe.
Val would have had a will to
Wow.
live. Well, yeah, I mean, Val was.
You went in there like full mourn, like you were in there full mourn.
Yeah, and Val was pretty careless inside there. Yeah, interesting.
What was Hobbs? What was your other character's name again?
Akira.
Akira.
Akira. So Val sent Akira to basically her death. He's like, go check out this room because I don't want you near me. So maybe stuff would have happened differently.
That's interesting. It might have.
Absolutely.
So in other words,
fair.
there is just no question. It always comes back. It was the DM's fault, right?
No,
Yes.
I
Just so
blame
you know,
Becca.
behind
already
scenes,
chewed him out a little bit.
Full circle.
I did not like Akira.
No, the thing is, that's one
Freaking
thing I love
Becca.
about not metagame is like understanding the motive and then going, let's do it. Because like it's in character. And I love
Yeah.
that. So like I saw it and I was like, this is gonna
Just-
be either
just
really
do it.
good or really bad. Yeah. I was like, I'm
That
either gonna
was-
find something or I'm gonna find something.
That was I think the whole theme of the end of the book is like the crux of you've got this group, they're role playing, they're all in character, but their in character is a slow motion train wreck, and like is someone gonna wiggle it in to have their character be like, my character actually is not cool with it, or like is anybody gonna try to stop this train? And the answer is no. We're with it all the way.
Yes.
Or we're
I
too
think that-
committed.
No, but I
Yeah.
think the reason too for and because of book 2 and the decisions, a lot of the decisions that we made was for book 2, it was a lot more somber, and a lot of the themes of book 2 were a lot different than book 1, where again, like just leading to a point where you don't have a choice, and a lot of that I think really did sway our decisions in what we made. And like I said, like as a DM, John really let the scene out. Like we really felt like the oppression of Relastra, and we really felt just this whole idea of having to do this and being, like I said, like I'm a ticking time bomb. I need to go do this stuff. Like I don't have time. I have to go. And then it's like, then there's lots of death in book 2 as well. So again, just further motivating, like people were feeling despair and there was a lot of death. And then, you know, you make choices even in real life. Like you do make choices that might not really be the best choice because your mindset isn't 100% there. Because if you think about it, even like we just dealt with Rowan's death and then we had to go into this building and all of a sudden all this stuff is happening. We don't have time to discuss, to talk, to anything. You know, and we know that this iron golem is going to kill us. So, you know, we're trying our best. And as much as I was trying to stay with Valfino, knowing his position that he was in with after Rowan's death, she tried to stay with him, but he did his own thing. And like, that's very true to what Val would do in that situation. Because again, like he was already at best, you know, kind of was sticking to Rowan, and it was harder for us to kind of bond with Val in that way, you know, and we had to gain that trust with Val. And even with the death of Rowan, it just further pushed that narrative and that story where she's just like, this is my day one, and my day one is dead, and I don't really care about anybody else. I don't care, you know. And that's why Val, despite the fact that Rizia was trying to stay with Val, Val's like, no, I don't want to stay with you, you know. And when Akira comes, I mean, again, Becca, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the vibe that I'm getting.
You're wrong.
But like, yeah, like but and like exactly what Becca said, where she sent Akira to her death. She's like, I don't want you to be near me. I don't want anybody near me. Like, I just want to be by myself. Like, go away, you know? And those are kind of the decisions that we made. You know, Josh kind of deciding like, oh, okay, well, you know, I'm going to go check this out or whatever. And then Rory's like, oh, let's go look over here. And Rizzy's like, well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I'm not going to let you go by yourself. So she would go, you know, despite obviously IRL me was like, this is not a good idea. This is very dangerous. But there was no way in hell Rizia would have ever let Anaho go by himself. There's no way.
No, there wasn't.
There's
Although
no
the question is, like, could or should Rizia have tried to convince him otherwise? That's a different question, and maybe not. But definitely would never have left him. And I think we can all agree if there's one person to blame, it's Rory. Because not only did
it's like, it's me. It's actually not you.
If there's one,
because of the glitter.
So he decides not just to split the party, not to just go to another room, a completely different level. And John has agreed. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna clip all of the ominous descriptions I gave for the question has been maybe
you didn't give any.
Maybe you guys got immune. Maybe there was just
when
it was so.
Anaho is the big bad.
Yeah, like so. Anaho went upstairs. Hob, you gave it away. He goes upstairs, away from the rest of the party. So that's sort of, and then. You know, I couldn't see his dice, and you sometimes wonder if remote players cheat. Did he really roll 2 nat 1s on that saving throw for Becca's character?
Oh, did you hear about that, Becca?
You know that's how you.
Yeah, I told her.
Oh, okay. We're like, are we hashing this out right now?
Yeah, I was like, oh.
I would like to not have the reputation of 5 years of rolling things under 10 all the time.
I just think that if Rory's camera goes out and my camera goes out in this conversation,
you just hear screams.
Oh, where'd he go?
She finally did it. Oh, okay.
Rory suddenly comes back with sunglasses on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not to joke about domestic violence, but I'm pretty sure Becca would take him.
Oh, Becca's got 2.
Oh, he put his glasses on.
So you would only have been at like -7. You would not have died. But he fumbled, which on my game system, a fumbled spell save is a critical spell effect. So in other words, you've taken the classic example I give is the lightning bolt to the eyeball, right? I mean, it's a horrible. So it wound up being a double damage, and you were like -28 or whatever it was, and crisped and fried to a wall. We're gonna wrap up here. We have a couple of questions in the chat. What was the hardest part of book 2 for you as players, other than the death of the party at the end? But if you take that piece out, what was a difficult part of book 2 for you? Go ahead, Becca.
For Val, I would say when he got emotional with Rowan and was like, "You betrayed me, you broke me." Like that one wasn't easy to play out, but like for the character, I think that was the hardest thing for Val, because even when Rowan died, like they weren't on good terms in the end, so that was difficult. But the point where his trust was completely like severed, was broken, was definitely a touchy moment.
Yeah, and Rowan, I think Hob, that was, you were in your feels on that, and it wasn't just role play.
I love how you think that I was crying, and I wasn't.
You were.
I wasn't crying.
You were crying.
No, but it did get. Dude, it got me though. I was like. Because even as a player, I was like, okay, maybe like we can maybe like he won't accept it, but maybe we could like talk. And then Val's like, no, I'm her, and I was like, oh my god, he's valid. And I couldn't do anything. I just had to let him have it, and that was the hardest part, because like you know, DMs understand like fully, like when you have a party that is like emotionally split, when there's like drama going on in the party, like stuff like that, like it makes things difficult, you know, like the death scene, that like everything, like it's just like an extra little bit, which I love the drama, but like it made it difficult, but in like the best way, where we got some interesting outcomes, you know. and I liked the ending with Val. Like, I'm such a sucker for tragedy. I just am. So for Val to just have this full, like, there's no closure. He was right. The world sucks. And now he's dead. Like, it was terrible, but I loved it.
Yeah, and it was so well done. Now, do you think between that rejection and Akira being almost killed by Valfino when he first appeared, could this have influenced your desire to make sure that you are in advance introduced to the party as part of the book 1 character reintroduction?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, not only did she say something to me, next thing I know, I'm getting a text from Vivi or a Discord from Vivi about how she's like, I'm like, okay, clearly Hobbs gone on a campaign here to make sure.
Me.
Yeah, oh, really? Yeah. So she wants to make sure everybody knows.
Yeah.
We were all childhood friends. You and I met at a bakery. You and I met at a. We have loved. We dated.
Cousin sister.
My character's actually related to every one of their characters.
I was once her hairdresser.
I've dated all of you at one point, and you all loved me, and we split amicably.
I mean, John, that's how it goes already.
Boom.
You can never be too careful.
Split amicably.
Oh man.
Split amicably. I just heard that.
None of you want to stab me. It's in our.
I thought it was.
We did the 2 for
backstory.
$20 at Chili's.
Wow, that sounds like experience, Hob.
Oh my god.
I gave you my jalapeno poppers.
Hob, that sounded like real life.
By the way,
Also, like,
speaking
I
of
wanted-
all that, Bob, I messaged
Bella's wearing glasses.
Okay, all right. So,
Glasses.
So
What
cute
up,
with her
4
glasses.
eyes?
so
That's mean. She looks so good in her glasses. I love her glasses.
so I'm going to agree with
It's
you.
people
no,
like you
Rory.
is why I don't wear my actual glasses and I have to put plastic little lenses in my eyes every day
You're-
now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
No.
I'm going to go with Joffrey's response to my question about the hardest part of book 2 and agree it was Josh's puns. Those really, I struggled with the puns.
I can't wait to make a bard so I can make those jokes in game.
At what
I'll
point?
just play bards next.
At what point? And let's say that this is after the introduction of the new characters, because I think this is really and I do think you hit it at some point. Robert wants to know, when did you feel like the group kind of hit a stride in book 2? Once you had Valfino and Rowan in, there was kind of I could think of a couple points where I feel like you did, but when did you guys feel like you kind of connected and hit stride?
When Val started making advances towards Rizia.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was like from the get-go.
Exactly.
When he felt comfortable enough to flirt.
Yeah.
Outwardly.
And then
I think that kind of playing on both questions. So the first question and what was the hardest part in book 2? I think for me the hardest part of book 2 is that I struggled with the most was being the only one with a glyph. Because I think like Anaho like avoided it, and then like all the characters just died off, and then I was solely the only person who was the driving force of book 2 basically to get this glyph off. And so I think that part, and then having like it kind of put me in a leadership role and put me into this point where like I have to push this story because I'm the one with the glyph. And so like that part I think was the most difficult part, feeling like I was the only one that had like a drive in the story. And then I think the part I think you're talking about where I started to feel like it was going well again was when Val and Rowan got introduced, because then it reintroduced another character who had a glyph, who had the same purpose, who had the same goal. And it was no longer Rizia dragging all these people along with her. It was Rizia, like we all had shared the same purpose, it felt like, to be able to go and finish this. And then again with Rowan dying, and then it was back to Rizia being the only one. And I think again it was like the driving force again for Rizia to again just stick with Anaho because she's the last one again. So I think when the second that Val and Rowan came into the group, I think it felt like after obviously the little bit of pleasantries, like I think we all jived together and it felt like it was more of a cohesive.
I like that. That's a good answer. Anyone else?
I'd agree with the timing, just because of the party dynamics, and once they came in, we were able to, it's so far into the campaign, you just kind of, you don't get the initial growth that you get in the first 5 sessions of a campaign, right? Because you can, but even just the way that they interacted, and what's his name? What's your dog's name?
Lucky.
No, not Lucky.
Oh.
Not Lucky. The
Dusk.
smoky one. Dusk.
Oh.
Like the interaction with Rowan and Dusk and all of that.
Bro,
It
I
just
forgot
made it
about
fun,
Lucky.
and I think that humor helped us just be cohesive.
So we're going to wrap up this portion in a moment. We have some new folks that have been joining us here. So we are going to play tonight. We're resuming book 1. I'm calling it an interlude into book 1. And right now we're just doing a recap of the party that had everyone killed last week with the exception of one who fled. So we're calling that a virtual TPK. Last week, Rasmus ran away. Bravely ran away, so Rasmus. One of the questions that we had in chat was from Pat Stubbs. He asked if you could take one thing back from book 2, and let's eliminate 2 responses. You can't say I would not have drunk what the spider put in front of me. That would be a pretty obvious one. And you can't say I wouldn't have split the party 3 ways at the end. That's pretty obvious. Anybody think of something else in that mix? I'll give you a second while you're thinking. I want to talk about Lucky. Lucky hurt my feelings. That was a really cool dog. He was nice. He was a nice dog. He begged to be with you guys. I don't know if there was just mistrust. You thought he was some sort of, but you literally threw rocks at this dog.
Dude, don't look at me, man.
He had 3 legs. He had 3 legs.
That was all Taldar.
Yeah, well, okay, that was all Taldar. Well, but you guys let it have. Why did you hate Lucky so much? He was cute.
Can I answer first?
Yes.
Having not even been there, escort missions are the worst. and you never wanted something around that a parasite could lay an egg in and turn into something.
Wow, I don't
True.
know. Parasite
Liability.
No, that's a good point.
Like, unless you're a druid and you can really
a
confirm.
mouse
They wanted the dog to survive. Yeah, that's true.
along those lines?
I think you guys, like, after so Squeaks, obviously, in book 1, for those of you that were here for that, Squeaks was a tough one because he was a familiar companion of Naho, or Gimbal rather, that was recovered when he was being tortured by Halia and the Dark Brotherhood. And it was a small rat that had a coin embedded in its skull and exhibited unusual intelligence.
I forgot about it.
Squeaks led him out, but actually Squeaks was the entire time. That coin was a scrying device. And just like the brush or the comb that Halia gave you, Vivi.
I don't want to talk about it.
So I don't know if that was kind of an after effect for some that Lucky was, but he wasn't. He was just a pitiful dog from Relastra with 3 legs that wanted somebody to love him. And
Doesn't matter. He's sus.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Take him with us, you're sus.
Yeah. Okay, so things you would change besides the 2. Anyone have something you would take back or change?
I would like to have seen where Rowan and Rizia's relationship would have gone had it had the time to kind of develop the way that it naturally did, because it seemed like a very natural way, and both having the glyph really connected them in that sense too, because they both understood like the stakes of which everything was at, which was nice. And yeah, just trying to see where that kind of went, because I didn't want to rush it and I wanted to kind of develop it over time in a natural way, but obviously somebody dying didn't really help that.
Listen, I mean,
Yeah, freaking
next time.
Hob.
No, I know that was
You go and die on me, oh my god.
that was a tough one because that was really starting to get interesting there, and I know the chatters enjoyed it, and that
I was looking forward to the fan art that never happened.
I know
that's
the fan
true.
art was gonna be so good.
Dude, there's a
I know, it's gonna
multiverse.
be
There's an
great.
alternate timeline somewhere where.
Yeah, come on,
We're
make that
together.
fan art, Hob.
Where she doesn't die.
Well, Alex, it wasn't necessarily even jump through the portal back then. It was some jumped through, some got tossed through the portal, and that created a real party rift that wound up, causing Rin and Elandra to go separate ways. Rin was incensed. Now we're talking book 1, incensed with Brim for tossing him through the portal after Gimbal, and that created a real issue in book 1. Anything else? Anybody has something you would regret in book 2 that you would change if you
I
could?
still don't regret that. I still don't change it.
We're talking that's book 1. We're talking book 2.
Yeah, I know.
No regrets, not even
No
one letter.
regrets.
Single one.
I don't think Anaho has any. I mean, there's little tidbits here or there, maybe a new set of dice or something, but I don't think there's anything Anaho necessarily regrets. Maybe getting to know Rasmus more because there was some like background and whatnot kind of connection that they had. Otherwise, Anaho came full circle with his story. He grew, and in the end, in the beginning, he's all for himself. Kind of, he's a slave. But in the end, he actually dies trying to protect Rizia.
Well, that's so. I wanted to talk about that for a second, as we're going to spend about 3-4 more minutes on this, and then we're done. We'll go to our one and only break, and we'll come back and we'll resume book 1 when we come back. But the conversion of Anaho to Pelor was one of the most unexpected and also one of the most fun scenes for me. And really, you put me on the spot. That whole conversion scene, even the scene where he is then made a paladin before the presence of Pelor, that really pushed me trying to figure out a way to make that seem meaningful for you, but also seem consistent with the deity. And I thought your role play there was fantastic. And I think, if I remember correctly, it won you a stream MVP that night.
Think so?
Probably.
Yeah, it did. It did. And I know that because that was so rare.
It did.
It stood out in my mind.
It did.
It was like one of the only times that Vivi or Becca didn't win. Yeah. So, but it was so well done, and the conversion to Pelor then gave Akira kind of the thread for how she was introduced to the party after Rowan's death. All right. So 2 last things. I want to add one thing that I liked, and then one thing that was mentioned in chat, which we haven't talked about tonight, which was a huge moment. The thing I liked and I really enjoyed, I thought the encounter with Adoram, this monk meditating on a mountainside. Don't think that's the last you've heard of Adoram. That is, obviously he's an interesting dude out there meditating in the, shirtless in the high tops of the Rakers. And he engages with you. He gives you guidance. He also extracts from you truths. So any thoughts on that? And then also the slaughter. When Rowan, unable to contain her lycanthropy inside the Last Chance Tavern, rips the innards out of an innocent bystander, a married woman of the town, spreading her blood all over the tavern.
Oh,
Yeah, that was right before you started joining us, John. As she changed, and they were fighting a Pale Ling, and remember, there are Pale Lings and there are Pale Lords. Pale Lords are a much different entity. That's what actually created the fusion of Akira and Anaho at the end of book 2. That's a Pale Lord. Pale Lings, still nasty creatures though, and they were fighting one inside the Last Chance Tavern. She changed, but part of her change, she still, the mechanism for her lycanthropy was she was gaining more and more power to control it as she went up in levels. At this point, there was a role that she would have to make every time to maintain control of herself and to attack what she wanted to attack versus whatever was around her when she was in that lycanthropic form. She failed this check, and there was a soft, warm, nice-smelling target right there, a foot away from her, and she ripped this woman's body apart in the middle of the tavern. Memories of that moment?
Granted, because Rasmus was like, "Go ahead, do it. I got you." And Ron's like, "You're right. I will."
just wanted to be said, I thought that you were good. I thought...
We both did.
Yeah, like... thought that roleplay was there. Guess not.
Where she turned on Val.
Yes, that's right. That's kind of where I thought that's where the rift came between Rowan and Val, but Hop says no, it was earlier.
I thought it happened in the giant fight with the giant orc yeti creatures.
The yetis.
That she turned on you.
So what had happened is Val started getting jealous of the bond that Rowan and Rizia were building, and he got tired of being always told what to do by Rowan. Rowan was always taking the lead. Rowan was always trying to tell him what to do and where to go, because up until that moment, Val was her ride or die. No matter what, didn't matter. He was there. But he started to develop actual feelings for Rizia, because unlike every other woman that Val kind of can, flirt with or whatever, Rizia was this big, strong, independent, woman that he's never interacted with. He's always
It's like, wow.
You wanted to be the little spoon? Is that what you're saying?
Bro, do not knock Little Spoon. It is
So
uppy.
there was like some jealousy in there, and then that's in the what was it, the giant fight? That's when
Yeah, see, that's what I thought it
Val
was.
snapped back, saying like, "Hey, don't tell me what to do. I can do this. I can do what I want. I don't need you to tell me what."
That was my first introduction as a player to, oh, apparently there's some issues.
And so Becca, is that sort of your default understanding of how to role play a male character? Is just utterly rebuffing being told what to do?
That might have some.
I think that just might be
internal stuff,
Becca.
It's pretty accurate.
I was like, don't tell me what to do.
Don't tell me what to do.
Can you confirm?
I can tie my own shoes.
Rory's like, I'm gonna stay. And
Like, I
Rory's
don't wanna sleep on
gone.
the couch tonight, so I'm gonna stay out of this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep this.
Yeah, well, that whole thing that did affect. Hob told me like the whole thing with Valfino really affected Rowan. And Rowan,
Dude, yeah.
Rowan, your backstory, we didn't really get the full bit out, but like, it's him. She muttered over and over again after the party had the vision of Graz. So this came out later. Her backstory, she's a very old creature, and she actually was charmed by the most charming demon in all of the lore of Greyhawk, Grazd. Grazd is known as this incredibly powerful, charming, handsome, demonic, dark-skinned figure, and she came across him in a town. She was charmed by him initially voluntarily, but then soon found herself in his thrall. Essentially became I think I could say this on stream without getting in trouble. She was a sex slave. She was imprisoned by him. She was impregnated by him and bore his offspring. And this was part of the whole, she held her stomach after she saw him. It's him. She was shell shocked. You guys recall I had to role play that because she was out that day.
Yeah. There's so many things that I wish we could have expanded on, just because I think Rowan is so
Seriously.
interesting. Just tooting my own horn for her.
Toot your horn.
Just because, she's so thick with lore, and I'm so sad that we didn't get to explore a little more.
Well,
She's a little thicky.
Hey, look, she's a little thicky, but hey, at least she's not a paler.
Well, now you have the opportunity to. I love games where lots of time passes and like being able to like play your child. Like enough time goes by or enough interdimensional spatial stuff happens that you can then roll up like your own offspring.
Bring your child to
Listen, I'm just saying, John saying thicky has to be my favorite thing.
Clip that, please.
Clip that. Yeah,
Clip
clip
it.
that.
Somebody clip
And
it.
when we ever get to 200 viewers, it'll just say thicky across the screen.
It's
with
so-
John's
it's so
face.
It'll
quick
take
too.
over all of the screen. Is just
Thicky,
John
thicky,
saying
thicky,
thicky.
thicky,
Okay, if that's the real thing, I need to go talk to the
thicky.
modders and like have some Twitch bots created because I need to see that.
Hey, I tell you what, we'll come up with our joint rap names. I'm gonna call you Thicky Smalls, and you can. I love it when you call. And I love it when you call me Rizzy Papa. All right, we'll go with that. I'm gonna be you be Thicky Smalls. I'm gonna be Rizzy Papa. How's that?
Rizzy Papa.
Yeah,
Riz.
I love it when you call me Rizzy Papa. Does that work?
Ears.
Oh my god, my cheeks hurt.
My rapper name is Slim Pickens.
Slim Pickens, yeah. We all have to come up with our rapper names. That'll be fun. All right, so she slaughters
Three rappers.
slaughters in the tavern, the reactions, and then Adoram. Adoram had this really interesting connection with the party, and I enjoyed. And then the fact that I didn't realize that final statement that he made about. Remaining friends and always stay close. That was the closing, piece of Rowan's memorial. I thought that was super cool. Final thoughts as we get ready to go to break here and come back and play some D&D tonight. We do have a giveaway tonight. I'll announce after the break.
The only thing that Rasmus regrets is not being able to tell Rowan's last words to the group. Other than saying her last... Oh, yeah, Becca, you hopped off last week before he could say it. But Rowan
it
had
was
last
awful.
words.
Well, go
I
ahead.
wasn't here.
You would have
What
cried
happened?
too. Cry with me.
All right, let's
Can we say
hear
it for stream?
let's hear Rowan's last words right here. We'll memorialize them.
So,
Yeah.
as Rasmus ran, he promised that he had to run so that he could not die, because as he has said before, people die twice, and he would not allow this group to die the second time. But he regrets not being able to say the last words that he sat in solitude with Rowan as he leaned down to whisper in her ear and take in her final sins, to let her body and soul pass on to the next life as he does. Rowan said, "I married a madman, the fiend himself. I bore his son, a child in sin. I killed the only woman I ever loved, consumed her body as a beast. I aided an evil faction in the slaughter of thousands. And above all else, I betrayed the trust of my closest friend. Val, I beg you, forgive me. Please, please, remember me as a mother and not as a monster." And once all was said and all was done, and her words conveyed to those she loved most and kept closest to her heart, he was to give Rizia a kiss on the cheek and to say goodbye to both of them. But he was unable to. And he carries that with him in his journal, his father's journal, that he's carried with him his entire life.
So well done. And Rasmus, for those that don't understand, Rasmus had the ability to speak with the recently dead. He could hear their last words. And these were the last words that he read from the departing spirit of Rowan. Wow.
Dude, that Val stuff got to Rowan, I'm just saying. She didn't.
And that plays so hard on his mommy issues, because if we look at Val's backstory, like, which is something I regret not being able to play out better. He was raised by a single mother. Like, he left home at, I think it was the age of like 12, because his mom had the choice of staying with the man that has been providing for them, but beat her and like made her turn tricks and like do all this horrible stuff, so that way she could provide for Val. Or in Val's eyes, he was leaving so that way she could free herself. That's part of the reason why Val was always so money hungry, was because his plan was to get money and return home and take care of his mother. And that's why he was so like protective of the people he cared about. But like, women were like always like
his muse.
Yes. So like, I wish I was able to play that out better, but that plays so deep into his mommy issues, and
But you did play Val really well in a lot of heavy moments, like when Anaho was talking about by the campfire about like his past and stuff like that, and like Val removed himself and like was like, nope, I don't want to, you know what I mean? And like that, like off in the distance, like 1,000-yard stare out the cave door, like you still emulated a lot of those feelings, even though we didn't really get the whole of the backstory, but we get it. Like, it makes sense now that you tell the backstory. Everything's like queuing up.
Yeah,
now,
I don't know if you noticed, sense. We were all like, oh.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Oh, yeah. That's why.
Val and Liam would have been so tight.
So what's
man,
what is so
Val
poetic?
And Liam. Oh.
What is so poetic about this? One, fantastic stories, each and every one. Two, fantastic role play. And the message here is that sometimes your greatest songs go to the grave with you, your greatest words left unsaid, the greatest acts of penmanship never to touch a page. These dreams and stories of our lives, this is true in real life. Some people go to their grave with their best songs unsung. And, you guys role played that so well. This is part of great role play. And, it is D&D, but ultimately it's also storytelling and acting. And you don't meet someone, even a group of someones that you go through difficult situations with, and just spill everything about yourself. That's fake, right? And so there were these incredible stories that never got to the telling because they were carried to the grave. But fortunately, you had one with you who could bring them back from the grave to speak. Final words or final thoughts before we go to break?
Thankfully, we will not be starting to play book 1 till next week. So
That's not true.
Good night, guys.
You guys can
Bye.
ignore.
Listen here, mustache.
You can ignore
No.
Josh.
We're playing right now.
Never listen to a.
I gotta grab you by the head.
Everybody knows you never listen to the guy with a porn stash. You just don't.
I was literally sending Hob a direct message with something very similar. So thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Send it anyway.
Yeah.
Send it anyway.
For things.
If he looks like a young Ron Jeremy, he's out. All right. So who else?
He's in.
I wish I was like a young Ron.
So who?
Oh my god.
Sorry. So who else?
My cheeks hurt so bad.
Anybody have any final thoughts before we go to break and come back with book one? Get ourselves some semblance of pulling it together. All right.
Oh, man.
As we prepare to go to break, I want to talk about a couple really cool things upcoming. So you saw a hint of it a moment ago. Hang on, why is this? I am connected here, right? Double check. Wait, did that get disconnected? Hold on.
What?
Make sure the audio is all correct here. 1 second. My mixer was saying it was. Might have been. There we go. All right. So the tomorrow night. For Lore Masters Arcanum, we are joined by this guy, Kyle of Mantic Games, one of our great sponsors. Kyle is their North American VP. He's a really good dude. They're a great sponsor. They send us stuff all the time. We're always doing Mantic giveaways. We're going to have a big giveaway of Mantic stuff tomorrow night as well. But not only is this guy so cool, so he emailed me on Saturday, and first line is, "Hey, gotta tell you, I broke my arm at the shoulder." So what am I thinking? What's the first thing I'm thinking? He's canceling on Wednesday night, right? Well, first thing I'm thinking is, man, sorry to hear that. Second thing I'm thinking is, he's canceling on Wednesday night. But you read it, and what he's actually saying, the point of telling me that is that he was voice to texting all the information for Wednesday night. So he'll be joining us tomorrow night with freshly broken arm at the shoulder, and so come and check him out. Yeah, dedication. Come and support this highly dedicated guy from a fantastic sponsor. We have a couple other things coming up here, though. So we got a fun on the 15th. We don't have the flyer for it yet. We're going to do another 3D printing LMA. Patrick Fraley 17 and maybe a couple others will join us, and we'll do some of that fun stuff we've been doing with bringing people from the audience into the stream. I'm going to talk about that in a second here. Coming up on the 22nd. Actually, I'll go to that one next, or last. Let me go to April 5th. April 5th's LMA will be with the amazing Ashlyn, Dollar Store DM, and we're doing a budget build battle. And yes, if you're counting, it's the 5B. It's the blue box budget build battle on the 5th. That's going to be a 2-hour stream from 5:30 to 7:30 that night. And she's giving us, you can see here, we have all of the stuff we're going to get in advance. So we need the cork, the chipboard, toothpicks, paper, and anything else you want to bring to build a twist. You're going to be building this. Everybody that joins that night that wants to is going to try to build a tavern scene from the supplies that she tells us, and we'll do it live on stream. So here's how this will go. If you watch Amanda's painting stream, we're going to do the same thing this night. There it is again, 5:30 to 7:30. We're going to do the same thing with this stream. We're going to have a live chat available in Discord. I'll pump the audio in from Discord, so people on Twitch will be able to hear. Anyone in the audience that wants to speak can join that Discord and communicate directly with me and with Ashlyn as we are crafting. Then I will set up a Video Ninja link that I'll make available in my Twitch. Anyone that wants to join and show us your progress, I'll be able to connect your cam from anywhere in the world and put it on my Twitch stream live. So we can show you not only what she's doing, anything we're doing here, but if you're at home and you want to say, hey, take a look at what I'm doing, or maybe you have a problem and you say, Ashlyn, how do I do this? We'll be able to, anyone that wants to, I'm not like intruding into your homes without you knowing, but if you want to and you send me the link information, I can show your camera live as you're building along with Ashlyn. So this will be our budget build battle of the tavern scene here. And you'll note, in addition to those other things, I said anything else you want to add your own twist. So if you have ideas of how to add to this and make it even cooler, you can do that night, and we'll put all the pictures of everything that's built in a special channel in our Discord. And then we'll let Ashlyn pick a couple winners, and winners will receive some prizes. So we'll do some giveaways, and Ashlyn will be the judge to pick the best of the budget build battle pictures posted in our Discord. That should be a lot of fun.
Can you say blue box budget build battle like 5 times real fast?
No, but you can. Go ahead, Vivi.
No, I
We've got
cannot.
this, baby.
But then we have the event to end all events. I have been working on this for like 3 months now. I am so excited. March 22nd, mark your calendar. This crew will be joining us for the first ever Throw Dice Like a Girl event. Throw Dice Like a Girl. I will be hosting the 6 amazing women. Meg Biscotti Hottie. We have Cameron, Just Play Cameron, who plays Dahlia on our Sunday streams in Tears of Aird. Ashlyn, Dollar Store DM. Courtney of Figuratively Speaking Minnie. And Rachel, who plays Mila in our Tears of Aird. And then also Manda will be joining us by voice, Mystical Unicorn. Ooh. These 6 women will be talking about the horrors and heroinism of girl gamers. They'll be talking about the creeps and crits of girl gamers, the experiences that women face, whether it be video gaming, cosplay, D&D style stuff, painting, the biases. They're going to talk about some of their own stories and what has happened in their encounters as girl gamers in any of these, or gamer girls, let's get that right, in these forums. And specifically, we're going to then also talk about the triumphs, what they bring to the tables, what they have seen women in any of the craft, the video games, the D&D, the mini painting, the crafting, all of it, cosplay, what they bring to diversity of thought and process at these tables. It's going to be a fantastic 2-hour discussion. I'm going to host it, but basically that means I'm going to ask a few questions and be real quiet. It's going to be 2 hours of these 6 powerful, amazing women that are going to share their stories and interact with you, our viewers, in the chat. You'll be able to ask questions. You'll be able to engage with them. Mark your calendar. This crew will be with me March 22nd. You are not going to want to miss that. Before I go to break, I'm going to go ahead and play the video at break that Rory created. And it is our trailer video for the Blue Box, the new intro trailer for Blue Box. I do want to edit it just a little bit, Rory. I want to have, yeah, I am too, Rachel. I want to have alliteration, incredible, yes. I want to have a few of the actual, like, the people. All we have
is
is
still the draft that you have.
It's still the draft. Okay. So you have
it's still the draft for sure.
But it's a really good draft. I love it. And so we're going to show that as we go to break. And Blue Box will be back in just a moment. Players, you guys can leave your cameras up, but your cameras will stay live because I'm going to show it down here in this bottom screen. And kill the other music. Everybody can get your coffee, get your water. Oh, we should ask one question, though. John, why don't you ask the question?
Is it my turn?
It is your turn.
If you're following and you're not subscribing, if you're watching and you're not a follower, if your Prime sub isn't spent,
it's free.
It's free. It's free money.
We have one question.
Provide it. We have one question.
What are you doing? Give us a follow. Give us a sub.
What are you doing later?
Blue Box will be right back.
Do I need to turn my camera off, John? So you're...
Yes, no. Please do.
Okay. What are you doing? We need to practice, like, saying it backwards or something.
Like the
doing your words,
like it's all suited up well.
Yeah, David Lynch edition.
Okay.
What is? Is this a new video?
I'll go ahead and play that again. We have this is a draft, so we're going to add some actual shots of the players into this. But for a draft, incredible work by our own Rory. scenes from all of our various campaigns. The nuns, we didn't even talk about the Sisters of Infernal Night.
I think it's funny how you're like, why didn't you like the dog? It was innocent and pure. After I just watched them step on a 15d6 delayed blast fireball trap. Like, the level of paranoia.
And we'll leave it paused there so you can look at that. That is also put together by Rory. There is the artwork for all of the different characters of the different campaigns of Blue Box. And you can enjoy that as we're on break for just a couple more minutes.
Kids? What? Later if you don't want to.
All right, we're coming back in just a moment.
That's a lot of art.
There's a lot of art. So you're seeing all the characters from all the books. You know, some of them are Hero Forge minis. Those would be the ones from Fall of Red Dawn. Of course, Tears of Erd. You have all the children. Their headshots are there. We don't even have the adult pics of the Tears of Erd players in there. Then you have all the Book 1 folks, including, you know, you can pick out the ones that are deceased. So here, I'll just kind of hover over if you can see my mouse on it. So here's Liam.
Show off who's dead.
No, I'm not sure. Here's Liam. He did. This was Uthar. This was played by Steve McKissick.
I forgot about Uthar.
Uthar had to. Yeah, this was Steve had to leave IRL, and a good friend of mine. So Uthar didn't die, but he kind of moved on. Of course, Rowan has passed. Lilith, you'll see tonight. I don't know all the Fall of Red Dawn character names yet. Then you have Anaho here, Gimbal here. Here is little Dahlia, played by Cameron, now a 6'3" hulking blood rager. A gorgeous character. Already talked about Rowan Valfino, of course. Then over here you have Shorwyn. Shorwyn retired as a knight, and with his steed Winston. And he now runs a store in the free city of Altamira. You have Brim here, which you'll see tonight. This is Solomon. Solomon was part of our Rise of the Runelords game. He died a terrible death. Actually was bashed against a wall and crushed by stone giants. Yeah, this is Alcott Devereaux, Wizard Extraordinaire, and he was part of the Heroes of Sandpoint along with Irda here and Cade Cardinal and Markov. Do we have Markov? I don't think we have Markov in here. Looking. We're missing Markov from this, so that's another piece of character art we'll have to add. You see Taldar. Here's Eamon. Eamon was played by Chris Carson in our Runelords campaign, and he had to move. In our Runelords campaign is all in person. It was a Sunday game. He had to move, so he's still a friend of the show, and he might be in the chat tonight. And Moria, we talked about Moria tonight. I really regretted not getting to see more. This was a really cool character. Worked on the backstory there with Evelyn with him a lot, and that was a tough one. Click up here. Some others I missed, but a lot of very cool characters. I'm going to go ahead and bring us back to video here and see if I have everybody in the right spot. And all right, so Vivi. Let me get you. You're not center. There you go. Perfect.
No, I'm just leaning a different way because I was reading something.
All right, no worries.
Just being complicated.
I'm going to fix your cam just a bit here, though. I can do better than that. And that looks good. And
yeah, my little rat man. I love him.
All right, that looks good. I'm just fixing all these cams. This is the first time we've gone back to our Book 1 scenes, and it's not the same scene because we broadcast at a higher resolution than we used to. And of course, the players have changed, and I've added a bunch of new features to it. So we're just getting all that set here. You look good. Gimbal, Berta, there we go. Yes, you're perfect. All right, you're just, you need to move a little more middle on your cam, but other than that, you're fine. And all right, so welcome back, everyone. I need to make this smaller. It's blowing the top of my head off. There we go.
Lilith, the Nutcracker Princess. What's that about?
Yes.
I cracked some nuts with my staff.
That was a good
bad.
time.
I
You made him leave the party, though.
I took my staff and I just got him in the nuts real good.
Real good.
Real good. It was a crit and he died.
Yep.
It was fantastic.
He didn't die.
He died.
He died.
Hmm?
He was stunned for a couple rounds first off.
Cup check.
And then he died. And then I killed him.
Yeah, always wear your cup, guys.
All right, so
Yield cup.
Before we begin tonight, I want to just do a quick revisit of the final moments of Book 1. So the 60-second synopsis for our viewers who never saw Book 1. The party began in Hommlet. They uncovered what they later learned was an artifact. They did not know it at the time. It kicked off a series of events where they were both plaguing and being plagued by the Dark Brotherhood. Betrayed by Halia, a member of the Dark Brotherhood, it became an ever-entwined story as they pursued Red Lords, fought off orcs, recovered the sister of Shorewin Tessel, fought across the Wildlands. Gimbal perished and was one of the most moving scenes of Book One, resurrected in his gnome hold through an incredible funeral ceremony where each of the players gave something of themselves to aid in that. Traveled through the mountains, searching for more information, searching for more of what was, to recover and to overcome this force that was battling against them. Millie fell in the mountains and was deeply mourned. The funeral of Millie von Toth was one of the most incredible moments of Book One, and incredible stories along with that. An eye was recovered from a temple of sand in Virtual Greyhawk Awakening, or Virtual Greyhawk Con 21, I believe it was, and later became an important part of the story. But they continued to chase after the Dark Brotherhood. They wound up being in the free city of Greyhawk, traversed the sewers in the free city of Greyhawk, finally confronted Halia. And of course, I'm skipping over 51 episodes of stuff.
That's fine.
Confronted Halia, wound up killing Halia, but others fled through a portal. Gimbal jumped through the portal to chase after, and Brim, not wanting to see Gimbal left alone, took Rin and tossed him through the portal.
That was not the reason.
I thought that's what you told me. What was the reason?
Nope.
Okay.
It was because with Holly's death and all the others running away.
Right.
And I think there was some sort of quaking sound or something that we heard as well.
I saw in the portal what was happening in that area.
That's right.
And I had fear for my family in the area, so I yelled to you guys and hopped through, and then you proceeded.
Grim was scared that the roof was collapsing and that there was even more like what's the word I'm looking for? Reinforcements coming, and there was no way we were going to survive. And so Brim, he's like, I can only save one person of this group, and so he grabbed Rin and threw him through.
Yep,
gotcha. Interesting. And so that led then to the party realizing Halia had promised, and they figured out, there was so much more. Call, an important NPC, Yaj Tox, which is an anagram for J. Scott, an important guide, Rayam, which is an anagram for Meyer, for the Anabi Meyer, who is an incredible guide of, all kinds of NPC interactions, all part of Book One. You had Osler Gundigut, the patronly tavern keeper of the Welcome Wench, not my name, that is the name from the original module. You had Burn, of course, which we talked about, and just an incredible cast of NPCs. So what you're about to see now is the last 4 or 5 minutes in the final episode, as the party, 3 of whom started in Hommlet, 2 of whom did not and did not know all that was going on, encounter what the Dark Brotherhood, at the promise of Halia, have done to this most well-known city, not just in Greyhawk, but one of the most well-known cities in all of D&D, Hommlet.
We'll be walking past to head to the town, and he'll stop and look over at Ren.
Before Brim moves forward, gives a nod and starts to head in that direction towards Ren, Gimbal was very sad, uncharacteristic look. Still holding himself upright, but sad in expression and tone. Will look both at Brim and Lilith. Pivot in front of you slightly.
Brim looks tired, but stoic.
My friends, brother, I tried to call out. I saw something not right. And I think I perhaps made the wrong choice. I don't know. But Brim, Please. I tried. We seem to be too late. I'm sorry if I left you in a bad spot.
And Lilith will run to Gimbal and just give him a hug. While still embracing Gimbal. It matters not, Gimbal. We're here now, and we're together. And Hommlet needed us, obviously. We all make mistakes. I'm glad you're okay.
Likewise.
Brim walking up. Oh, sorry, no.
Go ahead.
Brim walking up wouldn't fall down to hug Gimbal, but he would just rest his hand on Gimbal's head. Now kind of getting a better look at the town. And will kind of rub his head a bit and grip it lightly.
I'm glad you're alive. I'm glad you're safe.
And he'll look in the direction of Rin and will try and move towards the town.
I'm glad you're safe, Master Rincrest, Autumncrest.
As you look ahead at the city and you speak these words to Rin, I assume Rin makes no response. Nod, no, yeah. And you look ahead. You walk further into the city, your footsteps crunching on the cold tundra. Bitter wind blows through Hommlet, still carrying the acrid stench of smoke. And on the tree ahead, you see bodies dangling. With a sense of dread, as you move closer, though these are none that Elandra and Rin know, they are well known to Brim, Lilith, and Gimbal. Call standing close to Rin as you move forward. And you see first the body of Canon Calmart, one who had offered succor to the party in the temple here when Shorwin was among them. He dangles from this tree, his neck snapped and limp. You see also on the tree the body of Federum, a friend to the party.
Sorry, Pat.
One who had offered kindness and aid. His friendly face now distorted, purple, eyes bulging out, tongue lagging from his mouth, his neck stretched high upon this tree. You see also hanging on the tree Osler Gundagut, erstwhile purveyor of the Welcome Wench, a friend to the party, one who had often been kind to all of you. He hangs, his body limp. You see Brother Smith, his thick arms now lying flaccid against his sides, scars and wounds and blood. Clearly he battled. You see Byrne, the mage, not hung. No, not him. His entire body racked with wounds, burns, cuts. He's been crucified against this tree. And he lays, his arms splayed out, his innards poured out, partially flayed on the lower half, all of his nether regions severed. He has been utterly humiliated and flayed against this tree. There is naught but smoke and sundering You see no sign of Drew Ashdaff, but all is burnt in the city of Hommlet, crucified and hung. That happened 2 weeks ago. In the last 13 days, Brim, Gimbal, and Lilith have labored with the surviving people of the town of Hommlet. A good third of the town was burnt to the ground, buildings razed, livestock slaughtered for sport, people thrust from their homes, children dead. About half the town was killed, but many survived. It has now, in these past 2 weeks, been a time of rebuilding and deep sorrow for members of the Wayward Bolt that remain. Rin and Nilandra, fresh from the incident with the portal, alienated from the remainder of the party, not knowing the pain that they suffered with the dead in Hommlet, left over 10 days ago. You have remained, you have aided the people. You have seen stalwart others, including a strange and jittery little fellow by the name of Nerve, who has at every turn thrown his hand in and aided and assisted, showing particular care for the burying of the wounded, healing those that were ill, and befriending Lilith along the way. And yet through all of this, the one thing that you have not done is talk about it. Oh, perhaps a passing phrase or word here and there as you wander and pass each other with eyes red-rimmed, faces soot-stained, hands raw and calloused from the work and the labor, never seemingly an end to the blood. You pass each other day after day with knowing looks, or just as often with downcast eyes. Brim seems to have taken almost all of his time and spent it at the chapel of St. Cuthbert, trying to help restore the stone structure largely unharmed, but looted, and with Canon Calvert dead, struggling to restructure leadership and to offer the kindness and the suffering, aid to the suffering in the town of Hommlet, and to bury the dead. The dead. Oh, so many of the dead. It is now deep into winter. It is night, 1 hour past the falling of the sun, a light snowfall outside and a bitterly chill wind. But you have gathered together now, you, Brim, Gimbal, and Lilith, for the first time back in the Welcome Wench. You knew the time has too long been avoided. And after this many passage of days, trying to salve your wounds, your own sense of guilt, perhaps for some fury, perhaps for others simply confusion, in the labor that you have done, now you sit across from one another. There is a light spattering of patrons, and John, if you haven't already, go ahead and put that in the put your link in the Discord, and I'll grab that also. I'll check, maybe you've already done it. You sit across from each other inside the Welcome Wench. Lara, Ostler's granddaughter, is doing her best to run the tavern now in her grandfather's absence. She runs the Welcome Wench. There is a smattering of a handful of patrons. Those who are not somber are only anything other because they've gotten so deep in their cups trying to drown their remembrance. You've pieced together remnants of what happened. Dozens and dozens of the Red Lords, these robed men and women that serve the Dark Brotherhood, pouring into the city both with melee martial weapons and with arcane power, unleashing bolts of fire and balls of electricity and poisonous gases, assaulting the city. The defense that was made stood no chance, and all was over in a matter of hours. And now, 2 weeks later, Brim, Gimbal, and Lilith, you stare across the table at one another, wondering who will be the first to speak.
You'll see me as I have a familiar gesture of my hand around the top of my glass. And I'll utter a couple words. Take a drink of it. Even making it taste whatever I want is still not the same. It's still bitter.
Lilith will be playing with the ring on her finger, and her eyes gaze down. She would be sitting extremely close to Brim, like chair scooched right up against Brim's chair. As she kind of just fiddles with her ring on her hand, she hears what Gimbal says and she smirks a little bit, briefly making eye contact with him as she looks down again. And she looks over her shoulder at the bar where Oster once stood and looks back down at her ring.
Brim, without speaking, will kind of look over to Laura? Is that the daughter's name?
Yes, Laura.
Laura. And he'll just like raise a hand slowly with a finger up and point down at the table for a glass of his usual.
In moments, she comes over, and as she often does, she's got bright red hair pulled back in a ponytail, green eyes that still have bright curiosity despite all the pain that she's seen. But you see the telltale signs, the swelling under her eyes, long nights of tears, and she pushes your familiar frothy white beverage in front of you.
He's going to smell the milk to make sure that that frothy white beverage is still good, and then begin to drink. And he just gives a little bit a curt smile, and then looks back down at the milk. This massive hulking beast of a man, his body arched onto this table, his elbows resting against it, and then will lift his chest up slightly to take a drink and then put it back down. And we'll look, and like if he gets Gimbal's stare, he'll just smile slightly and then kind of look back down at the table.
As you smile, I return the grin, and seeing you look down. Once thought that if I drank milk, I could be big like you. You told me to be myself. And look around. I don't think that's good enough anymore. Being myself is just allowing all this.
Lilith almost like tucks underneath Brim's arms as you're kind of hunched over. You can see her. Yeah, she kind of just like sneaks underneath there. As she looks up at you, I think I want to go to the Grove soon.
He does a gesture like all of us.
If you want to come.
He'll look at you, Gimbal, with a wondrous glance.
Maybe a place like these places you go, Lilith. bit of stuff away from here will be good.
Sometimes the noise of Hommlet gets too much. I like some quiet.
Oh, I mean, I got spells that can do that too, but I'll go with.
I don't really think that the patrons of the tavern would appreciate it. I just have a lot on my mind. It's nice to be in a quiet spot. Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
As you're talking, you see Nerve, this strange man with ears that has been laboring tirelessly. He stands nearby, and you've seen him do this before, clearly interested in getting your attention, but uncertain as to whether or not he should interrupt. Lilith, perhaps you can share with the audience how you have come to know Nerve over these 2 weeks.
Lilith and Nerve have been kind of met, just trying to restore Hommlet to its original state as best as possible, with figuring out that Nerve is actually a druid as well. She takes him to the grove, and they would spend time there. The first time they would go would be more of a meditative state. Again, just trying to escape the noise of Hommlet and the destruction of Hommlet, and kind of take a second just to kind of recenter themselves. Nerve would go willingly, I'm assuming, and quietly, and just kind of resume. And exactly the same as the first, every single time that she's gone to the grove, removing her footwear and walking barefoot into it, and having her hands trace the bark and the branches and the leaves as she walks into the open clearing area. She would have taken Nerve a couple of times. The second time revealing about Jeru and his story, and how she knew Jeru, and the flower that Jeru had given Lilith, to which she had given to Federum, which now lay destroyed when she returned to Hommlet.
Grim, having done this before, will reach down to where Nerve is, as he does with Gimbal all the time. He'll offer his hands as 2 elevators down to them if they would like a ride while he walks.
Hey.
Wait, you're offering him like a ride?
Yeah.
On you?
Yeah, he's done that before. Whenever we were out cleaning up the town and needed to get someone out from under rubble, he would hold up the rubble, you would grab him. At times when you were walking through town to the next cleanup, he would offer you a hand to step onto his shoulder.
Oh. He just kind of looks at you, confused, as he kind of like watches you guys kind of walk past. And he's like, "Where are we going?"
To the grove.
And then he'll look back over to Brim. "I'll take the ride."
And he'll smirk slightly with, once again, each time he smiles, it's not one that reaches the eyes. As he reaches down and puts you on his shoulder, and then a hand will go down to Gimbal as well, still there.
"Thank you, sir.
You
appreciate it.
You still up for this, Brim?
It'll just put you on his shoulder.
I could always shrink you, and you could ride on my shoulder.
Now that would be something to see.
Another word. Maybe another day.
Rizia will stay on the side of whatever side that Brim put Gimbal on that side.
Okay.
Lilith will be on that side, and you be almost like a little kid just hanging on to your clothes. Like that's what she's doing. Like she's it's very difficult for her to kind of let go after everything. She's just going to hang on to you guys and be as close as possible.
And just for note, Brim would not be in his armor. He would not have his weapons on him. He's just in regular everyday clothes. The unbuttoned top little bit, few inches of his shirt lay open as he walks in the cold night air, and just the steam of his breath riddling out even with his tight chest showing from underneath the shirt as the rippling muscles hold to the edges of each seam and point of the clothing. But he just walks, following Lilith's lead.
And I didn't catch it. Did Nerve accept this hand
Yes.
up? Okay.
So Nerve is on my left.
Okay.
Gimbal is on my right. Lilith's walking on my right. And soon enough, he's going to football grab Berta and just start running.
No.
Surprise.
Surprise.
Just so everyone knows, it's pronounced Berta.
Berta, yeah, gotcha.
Berta.
The family
Babushka?
name, actually. We're not going to tell my great grandmother that I stole her name for my gnome.
D&D game.
That's so cute. I love
So
it.
it's Berta?
Bertha.
Grandma, you'll never
It's
guess.
Bertha, but in Swiss. Bertha.
I like
Berta.
it. I like it. I like it. All right, so you guys head out, and so you can see a few of the patron folks look over. Lara leans across the bar and sees the tankard of milk still half full. Is everything all right? Was something not to your liking? Yes, I know. I understand.
And he'll just, and he would probably walk, so she doesn't have to clear the table. He would walk the tankards over to her and put it on the counter. And then just kind of middle finger put a gold piece on the counter as well. And just smile and just walk away.
She nods, and you step out, and she just gives you again that admonition. It's a very cold night out. But in moments, you're out, you step through, and you can see the two moons. One hangs high in the sky, the other low on the horizon. The stars are occluded, but the moons do manage to kind of peek through the cloud cover that's drifting the light snow. And immediately you feel that bitter chill almost takes your breath away. And you start walking toward the grove, trotting familiar paths. As you walk, are you walking together in silence?
At some point during it, I'd just peek over Brim's head and, no, you didn't tell me you knew Lilith.
So sort of just got to know everybody.
Oh, I mean, I know that was true for us, but do you know Brim?
I've been around. I do believe that I helped him. Well, more like he helped me. And he'll like tap Brim's shoulder. I've just kind of been around helping all of Hommlet.
Oh.
And somehow ran into all of you and
What happened?
somehow made friends.
Okay.
Granted, I wish better circumstances. And he'll kind of like grip onto his own leg, where when he did enter Hommlet, he had one. After everything in Hommlet, he had lost it.
Lilith will then you see Lilith's head pop out from underneath Brim's arm. Nerve.
Hmm?
Do you like
Yes, sir.
sweets?
I do believe I do. Yes.
Good. And then she'll just like disappear again.
His ears are like all perked up, expecting candy. And he's like, "Oh, okay." And just silence sitting ahead.
So as you're walking down the forest path, I would like to have the three players that were in book one previously to tell me one thing you're thinking or seeing as you walk through what remains of the town of Hommlet. And I'm going to start with you, Anaho.
Gimbal.
It's Gimbal, not
Gimbal,
Anaho.
sorry. I'm just trying to make you feel better.
Fair,
I did it too.
I'm trying to make you feel better, Vivi. Yeah.
I did it too. I totally did it.
A lot of reminiscence of when we first arrived in Hommlet, from what he was saying back at the tavern, where that there was this caution of us bringing danger here, right, between Brim's stature and just I forget what it was, but there was a certain event that took place. Oh, the orc that he fought.
Mm-hmm. Storgajol.
Yeah. So yeah, 3 trees.
No, 3 trees.
Oh, 3 trees. Oh, 3 trees. Right.
Oh,
yes.
I forgot about him.
Yeah.
So that, but it's also blended with, because Gimbal is very pacifist to begin with. He's very peaceful and doesn't like to fight or doesn't like to kill, likes to resolve. And as we're walking to the grove, although cold and chilly, the peace that he remembers from the first time they went there, and kind of the hindsight humorous of the spiders in the cave and the balance in that nature and the peace that he hopes to find again in the grove. And the bear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Nicely done. Let's go to you, Lilith. Same question.
Very similar to what she was thinking about at the tavern as she was fiddling around with her ring. Lilith is hit with a lot of emotions. Seeing Federum in the position that he was, and then just looking over to see the flower that Drew gave her laying smushed on the ground. I think she's thinking a lot about, I think there's a lot of self-doubt, wondering why she left the clan and if that was the right choice, wondering, and a lot of doubts, and wondering what happened to Jeru. As far as she knows, she's just seen that cloth with the blood on it. She's not sure if he's alive or dead, whether or not, what the significance of the flower meant. And she feels as though she failed Jeru and also Federum as well.
Brim?
Brim. Is it raining at the moment, or is it clear, cold night?
I've said it twice to see if anyone was listening. Anyone know what it is?
It's cold and night.
It's cold and it's not.
And it's winter. It's deep winter.
I said yes, and I believe I mentioned there was a light snowfall, to answer your question.
Okay.
Ha! Light snowfall. It's kidding. Laughs in Canadian.
Canadian, yeah, exactly.
Gosh, as he walks, he's just having different things play out in his own mind. The only things he physically sees is if and when they pass by the area of Federum's shop, of just seeing that and feeling the nerve. Do you have a wood leg or a metal one?
I think it's a mix of both.
Weddle.
There's probably metal springs. Yeah, there you go.
Weddle. So a weddle leg.
A whittle leg.
It is a whittle.
As he looks over at Federum's shop, it's just, just like a railroad spike in his heart of just freezing cold. As when he's at the church and he hears Nerve's foot clanking on the ground and that thick stomp that just reminds him of Federum. The space behind Federum's shop that was supposed to become their home. That was supposed to be their home in Hommlet, their home, this place. And instead, they returned to a beautiful tree wrapped in blood.
Yeah.
And the light snowfall he sees drops faster than snow should. And it's just like everything around him is dripping blood. And he sees it again and again and again. And he stays silent and keeps walking because he doesn't know how to hit stop on the memories.
As you do this, Nerve and Gimbal, you feel a massive half-ogre. He's trembling. Doesn't even realize, likely, that he's doing it, but his entire body shakes, whether with grief or pent violence or a mixture of the two, you cannot tell. But you can feel almost the palpable sense of the emotions surging through him. As you move through the outskirts of the town and into the grove, a familiar place for you, both fond and challenging memories that you have here. You walk near the cave where once there was a bear that lived here. You see the very place that you fought. The rock where Jeru Ashstaff once sat. There is nothing here now. No activity. The small stream flows past your feet right near the rock that heads past the cave. But there is here a peacefulness standing in the grove of Jeru Ashstaff.
Nerv is probably going to get off of Brim and not say anything, but look at Brim and nod, thanking him for the lift. And he's going to make his way over to the stream there, and just wash his hands. You know, very rat-like, the way that he kind of like pulls it up into his hands, just kind of, just a little faster than what normal people would, and he just kind of like shakes his hands and does the same thing to his beard, and kind of just like grooming himself, feeling very at home in that piece.
Once Lilith enters the grove and sees the empty rock in which Jeru sat, she will actually walk up to the rock and not sit on it, but just sit in front of it. As you see her drop to her knees, you see her hands, or her head fall in her hands, and she just begins to sob quietly.
Would Gimbal like to get down at all?
Or does he want to stay?
We're all just looking at Lilith cry.
Literally.
You're muted at the moment, Rory. But I am interested in what you have to say.
If you put me down, I'll be down. But if you're not making an attempt to put him down, then he'll be there for the moment. And
Okay.
you do. I mean, there's an apparent amount that I'm paying attention to you, right? I'm not trying to hide the fact that I'm paying attention to you, but I'm not bothering you at the same time.
The only reason I ask is because Brim's about to move forward towards where Lilith is, and he's about to like stoop down and move. So,
well, I mean, if you put me down, I'll be down.
Nope. Okay. He just moves forward and drops to his right knee, his left knee, then just sits crisscross and just slowly lifts that large arm and puts it on Lilith's back. As it's really beautiful having that silhouette of Gimbal on his right side, the river running in front of us, and then the hand, that massive hand that just rests on Lilith's back.
As you do that, you feel the weight of her body lean into you, and Gimbal, you would always even feel like her face turn into where your leg would be if you're sitting on his shoulder. As both Brim and Gimbal feel the wetness from her tears.
Knowing that it's cold, Brim will look over to Rim. Oh, wow, Rim. Nerve. Don't know how that happened. To Nerve in an inquiry of you cold. Would you like to come?
As like when you turn to him, he's already in it's not that he's kneeling, but he's like sat where his knees are like in front of him, you know what I mean? And he's kind of in like a meditative state, and you can see that there's tears, but it's not, the face that he has isn't one of like it's not pain, it's just full like stoic, almost as if he's like sad for you. And you wouldn't be able to tell this, but he's meditating on not only the nature around him, but the nature of the situation, the nature of the feelings and the emotions that are in the air, and just kind of praying and hoping for some sense of healing or a feeling of healing. But you'll see his little ear twitch at like the slight sound of you like turning toward him.
Lilith. Where do you find your peace? Because ever since I came back to life, it's been tough.
Ever since I came back to Hommlet, it's been tough for me too.
There's something to be said about putting the power outside of yourself to that of the gods. It's easier and yet harder all the same. I find peace in what I do have still.
And he'll look over at Lilith, up at Gimbal, and then as his eyes will cover the river's basin, and then over to Nerve, he'll say,
and also the things that I have found, and hope to continue to find.
And his voice raspy, dusty, scratchy, as if unused, as you know it hasn't been. He rarely speaks, and when he does, it is in your presence and only your presence.
You saw the ceremony we have back at where my kin are. What if we were to go to that cave where we dealt with the spiders? What if we were to... I don't know. I'm grasping at this point. But lay to rest those who have fallen.
You mean have our own memorial?
Yeah. A peaceful place. And a place that we can make sure that they're safe. And a way to say goodbye, I guess.
He'll just nod. Look over at Lilith.
You see Lilith, she'll actually bring up a hand to your face. And then she'll bring her other hand up to the other side of your face. And she'll pull you in.
You're gonna feel Gimbal just like slide off your shoulder.
For touching heads?
Yeah.
Okay, just gotta make sure.
Yep. And with that, you see, like, I think Nerve you'll see for the very first time, as she touches foreheads with Brim, you actually see her skin color change. And it creeps all over her skin, and it changes into the same color as Brim's skin color.
You've
as
seen
she
her.
holds his face in her hands, still touching foreheads.
Nerve just smiles, just very, very lightly. I don't have to even really notice, knowing the relationship for the most part.
She'll then just wipe the tears from his cheeks. And then wipe her own. And she removes her hands from either side of his cheeks and bring them down to his hands. As she squeezes them tightly before she stands up.
Groaning, whether from soreness, actual pain, or just the weight that he feels, Brim will slowly stand up with a deep exhale and reach down again his hand to both Nerve and Gimbal as they move forward.
Instead of getting up, he's going to, because I just realized in here, he's going to give you just a small piece of toffee. Small, like almost as if it had been broken up. Like it was one circular piece and it broken up into small ones. And he gives one to everyone. He doesn't say anything. It's just a very soft, shy, nervous kind of smile that he offers each of you a piece. Just because the weight of the situation, he's had his own happenings in Hommlet, but he doesn't fully understand or really need to understand the weight that the three of these people carry. You know, the way that he goes about it is very like he respects that they're in this full sense of mourning, and that the most he can provide are just these small little tokens of just something. So he does that, and he kind of like closes Brim's hand and just a gentle pat as he gives one to Gimbal, and then one to Lilith.
And you see Lilith, still tears through her eyes, but they actually light up a little bit for the first time that you've actually seen them, as she takes like both hands out, as she takes this little toffee, and she just kind of looks at it for a little bit in her hand. She still has like the tears in her eyes, however you do see that little glint of like excitement as she takes it, and she kind of just looks at it for a minute and just is just so excited about this little piece of toffee. And
You
she
know,
just
he
takes it in. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that, like, as you're like looking at it, and he's just, it's very like he's not looking up at you, he's looking at your hands, and he's like, and he'll kind of just like walk away. He's very like twitchy and nervous with his like act, so he'll kind of like move away a little bit.
The Lilith has no like understanding of any difference, like that you're acting any different than anybody else would, and she just takes it and she kind of just tucks it in her cheek.
Then he would start probably just moving forward with the rest of the group. It was just a little token.
Gimbal? Gimbal?
You hear a voice calling out through the forest. A stranger.
With that, Lilith will immediately move around, almost like in front of Brim. Even though he's like way bigger than she is, she will still come around and almost move in a protective stance.
Brim would throw his arm back to try and grab his sword, but it's not there.
Someone say my name? Say my name, say my name.
Stupid.
Gimbal, are you expecting somebody?
Gimbal, is that you? Gimbal.
No. Yep.
Nerf like
That's
squints.
no, I'm not expecting anyone. And you start to hear some of the levity come back into Gimbal's voice. Just being caught off guard. It's his natural behavior, his natural personality to be a little bit more lighthearted. So just being caught off guard, he's kind of going back to some of that mannerisms.
As you look ahead and you hear this voice, there's a rustling of the foliage along the forest floor as the snow lightly falls, leaving little white dots that quickly bind to the leaves of the forest, whatever escapes the canopy falling here below. And as the foliage stirs, every once in a while you just see a little shock of white hair that barely makes its way above the white foliage. And as you just kind of stand transfixed in various forms of alertness with weapons, you see a matronly looking gnome woman come peering through the foliage. Describe what they see.
So, as she comes out of the foliage, you see first the white hair, as white as snow. And as she peeks out and is pulling her way out, you see these gnarled little hands. She's all of 2 feet tall, and she's just clawing her way out of the foliage. And she walks with kind of a slight limp. And you assume it's due to her age. She is very, very old. Her face is wrinkly. Her hands have the sign of age, thicker knuckles, gnarled looking, as she's coming out and walking. She has a staff in one hand and a crochet hook in the other. And as she's walking out of the foliage, she says, Gimbal! Gimbal, I knew that was you. Hello, Gimbal.
Being that Lilith is more my height than Brim, just kind of, I didn't know I was that famous.
Do you know?
Yes, I am Gimbal. I am Gimbal. Where is she?
I was gonna ask you the same question. She's calling your name.
Bertha moves forward a couple more steps out of the foliage as she kind of dusts herself off with her crochet hook hand. And she takes another couple hobbled steps forward. Gimbal, I'm sure this is you.
Yes, that
You
is
probably
me.
don't recognize me.
No, I do not.
It's been a very, very long time since we've seen each other.
You sure? Because I don't remember you.
No, I don't think you would. Has your mother told you any stories of her friend Bertha?
And that levity for a moment vanishes with the mentioning of his mom. Because it immediately takes him back to, of course, his childhood, but also the resurrection, and then also the whole reason he jumped through the portal to begin with.
Mm.
Who? And Lilith and Brim, you know that this is uncharacteristic of the way that I'm asking this, but who you're talking about?
My name is Bertha. The last time I saw you, you were just born. I have fond memories of holding you and telling stories and talking with your mother as you sucked on my knuckle.
Who did you talk to?
Sucked on his rod.
Do you see the look on Josh's face? He looked panicked there for a second.
I panicked a little too in my head. Sorry, continue.
Bertha is very old and struggles to remember the name of her dear friend and takes a moment. Zandira, my dear friend, your mother, I would know you anywhere. You have her eyes.
Okay. And you'll see I physically start to relax. Yeah. The name sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't recall it very well.
That is too bad. Your mother and I are dear, dear friends and have kept in touch over the years. It's been a very long time since I've seen her. And I do say the contact hasn't been as frequent as I would have liked. How is she? How is your mother?
With recent events, safe. But, she's safe. She's good. Do you know where she's at? Do you know where to find her?
I fear not. It's been quite a while since I've got a return from her.
Perhaps we can...
Come. Let's walk. Let's go find some place to sit. My body is not does not do well with this cold as much as it used to.
Wow. One moment, and you see a kind of not like, what's it called? Like, I'm not like shushing you, to put it in John's words. I can't think of.
You're not dismissive.
There we go. Thank you, John. I'm not dismissing you, but I am kind of like, hold on. And I just turn around literally where I'm at, because you're right there. On your time, Lilith and Brim. Like, I'm not rushing the two of you at all.
Lilith, like, just complete disregard. She's just, like, loud, too. She's not trying to be quiet about it. Do you know this woman or trust this woman?
I mean, not everyone knows my mom's name.
She wasn't that kind of woman.
No, she wasn't, no.
So if she's coming up to us in the middle of the forest, And she says she knows you.
No.
Just to trust her?
Oh, I'm not saying trust her. I'm saying I'm not rushing you. And we'll figure it out.
Maybe.
Oh, look at her. She is kind of old.
Quizzer.
So.
You shouldn't mistake
Quizzer,
age.
ask her questions.
We shouldn't mistake age for her ability to fight.
Well, probably not.
As she like looks past like Gimbal directly at her. Just very curious, like very curiously. She's just looking at her, just trying to inspect like
You will
what she's
see,
making. Yeah.
Bertha just has pulled out her crochet out of her back, and she's just sitting there trying not to pay attention and just,
You see?
A wolf in sheep's clothing. Sometimes people can be.
Hey, Bertha, is that cotton or wool?
Lily, even as you say this, wolf in sheep's clothing, it's kind of hard to keep a straight face as you see her crocheting. She's not looking particularly threatening, but you've seen similar guises before. I guess Squeaks didn't look very threatening.
No, and we've been betrayed many times.
I think you're
Many
overcounting
times.
those many's.
Lilith, is this... maybe you're right. Bertha, maybe we need a fight.
I'm not saying fight.
Or not fight.
Per se. Berta, you said your name was?
Bertha. Yes, honey.
Berta. Do you like sweets?
Sometimes they tend to upset my stomach, but I enjoy the flavors.
I think she's fine.
Bertha will just after you disappear, go back, and she'll just pick up her crocheting again and just continue.
Hob low-key just sitting there enjoying the suspicion on someone else's character.
It's pretty great.
Did we want to actually bring the people here, or just in our mind's eye, close the cave and say that they're there? I can't hear you, Brim. You need to use your voice.
They have already been buried at the church.
Oh. I mean, we could just go there too.
Brim still hasn't taken his eyes off the little old lady.
I personally think that we should ask more questions, but that's just me.
Then ask questions.
What questions should I ask? It should be Giggle.
Why is she here?
You heard him. Why are you here?
Oh, I'm sorry, honey. Were you talking to me?
What other gnome in the forest is there?
There's always no.
There's one right here.
There's always gnomes in the forest. Bertha, what brings you here?
Well, you see, I've been traveling, trying to spread the word of my lord, Paylor. And I've been traveling from village to village, and I heard that there might be some people around that might need some help, some healing, some guiding.
There's a whole lot of them.
So,
and then my hand will also go over to Nerve.
Bertha will turn to Nerve. Noted. We shall chat soon. And back to Gimbal. So, that is what brings me here. I'm so glad I ran into you. It has been such a long time. I miss you rather dearly.
I'm sorry, this is just kind of weird. I don't know anyone that my parents knew, and my dad's kind of gone now, and now you're here, and I haven't seen my mom for quite a while, because we went off on some stuff. But
But Gimbal, you do know me. You may not remember, but you know me.
As she says these words, it suddenly strikes you as odd. It was literally just moments ago you stood on the riverbank speaking to the others about fate and God. And in moments, this voice, perhaps from the past, perhaps not, speaks out to you as the remnants of the wayward bolt stand on the outskirts of the remnants of the town of Hommlet, with one jittery little man with ears stands and crunches on caramels as a druid beside him wipes away tears and looks around the grove that she spent many moments with a friend that's nowhere to be found in Jeru Ashtath. As Gimbal faces perhaps a voice from his past, and Brim broods over all, his voice growling in the night, his body seemingly still ever racked between violence and sorrow. And so we end tonight's session as we begin the interlude of Book 1 of Greyhawk Awakening.
Oh, man.
Listen, I'm just saying, y'all made fun of me, but I'm so happy that I made these connections because I feel so safe right now.
Yeah,
so much for Nerve standing up for Bertha.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, was I supposed to?
So, hey, she getting back at you for Valfino. She's getting back at you for Valfino. Absolutely. This
I would never listen. Listen, you know I love some drama.
What's wrong with you?
All right, so before we're gonna end here in a minute, but we do have a giveaway. I'm gonna give you the choice. Either you can get a Tailspire gift code. That is for this application you've seen here. This is $25, and it is a lifetime Tales. I love my friends at Bouncy Rock. We're talking to them. There's some cool announcements coming between Blue Box and Bouncy Rock, the makers of Tailspire here, I think very soon. But they are too generous. They are too kind. It's only $25 for this application, and it's lifetime. Every update, every asset, they just keep pouring more and more into it. And so we can give away a license of that tonight, or if you already have one, or if you're running all of your stuff on a potato of a PC and you can't run any halfway decent system, that sounded insulting. I didn't mean it that way. I'm just saying, like, if you're like if you're like Rory, then
if you're like
Rory or Hob, yeah.
Hob who's on a phone. You need to do something with your bandwidth, girl. You were freezing on and off all night tonight.
Sorry, I apologize for it.
That was in your Blue Box contract that you had to have. Oh, we didn't have one, did we? Anyway, yeah, fix that bandwidth. So the or if you don't, we'll give you a gift card to Troll Lord Games, one of our other fantastic sponsors, TLG. They rated into us tonight. We love all things Troll Lord Games. So to enter in that giveaway, you type hashtag BlueBoxRPG, hashtag BlueBoxRPG in the chat there. Somebody can pop it in and show them again how to do it, and that will get you entered in the giveaway. We're going to have 5 rolls for the giveaway. I'll roll for Vivi, who had to step away for her short night with work, and we're going to be done here in just a couple of minutes. But quickly, why should you be Stream MVP? And let's start with the individual who has the least time on screen tonight. Bertha, tell us why you should be Stream MVP.
Because Bertha is like the little old granny who will make you clothes and love you and be like, oh yes, my child, it's been forever. Come to me. Come to Bertha. She's like the grandma we wish we all had. You know, the one that didn't come up and smack us. The one who like lovingly embraced us.
Wait, you guys had one of those?
Wait a minute.
No, it's she was awesome. I love the crochet. That was a really cool touch.
Yeah.
Let me get into character.
Yeah.
You killed me with that. I looked at your little corner and I was like, "There's no way
That's
she's
so
out here crocheting."
I love the crochet. And is anyone else excited for the cosplay? The Bertha cosplay.
I already have it planned out.
It's going to be. So we'll cosplay here in a couple weeks with all these characters to get people a chance to get to know them. But hey, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for all the compliments, all the gift subs, all the stuff in chat. And so tonight you will be rolling for Asher, let's go, Dale. Asher the Bear is in the giveaway. Asher, let us know if you are still in chat. And before we go to Brim, you'll be next to tell us why. Let me go through our announcements just really quickly. Tomorrow night, do not miss it. You're going to want to join us for this guy, the really cool Kyle of Mantic Games. Mantic, one of our sponsors. And Kyle will be with us tomorrow night. We'll be starting at 5:30 Central Time. And Kyle, as I mentioned, he's joining us despite... Isn't that beard cool? He's got it all like braid. That's awesome. Much better than Josh's porn stash. And he'll be joining us tomorrow night at 5:30. And he's joining us with a broken arm, busted it at the shoulder. I'm going to find out how he did that tomorrow night. And we're going to talk all things about his gaming experience, Mantic Games, their sponsorship. We'll talk about new products that they have, all their different game systems, Kings of War, and of course Terrain Crate, which we feature here a lot. And so that's going to be tomorrow night. And then we have coming up on the 5th of April, so I'm skipping ahead here a bit, go the same order I went last time. We have this amazing lady. This is Ashlyn, Dollar Store DM, and you can see here the time slots 5:30 to 7:30 on April 5th, and we'll be doing a budget build battle. So you need to bring the cork, the chipboard, the toothpicks, the paper, and then anything else you'd like to add a twist. We're all going to be building this a modular inset, and she's going to show us how to create a tavern. And you can build along with us. We'll have a live voice chat in our Discord, so anyone can watch it on Twitch and talk to Ashlyn and I in our Discord, and you'll be heard on Twitch. You can ask live Q&A with her. We'll also set up screen sharing, so if anyone wants to show the progress of what you're building that night, it's going to be a really fun night. We'll all do the builds together. Anyone that wants to, others can just watch, and then you'll share, if you build that night, your build in our Discord. So we'll share pictures of everything that's built that night, and we'll do prizes and giveaways based on Ashlyn's choice for the coolest builds that night. So you're not going to want to miss that. That's going to be April 5th. On the 15th, so 2 weeks from tomorrow night, I'll be joined by Patrick Fraley17, and he's going to be here in studio with us at Blue Box. He's going to bring his 3D printer, and we're going to be talking resin printing. We're going to be talking FDM printing. We're going to do live prints. We'll engage with the community, STL options, and how to do it, and other members, and we'll allow people to ask questions and join in as well. And we'd like to have other people doing 3D prints live as well. So you're going to see us doing this more on Lore Master Arcanum, where when we're doing these joint things, we'll let other people come in and show the stuff they're doing on stream. So that's going to be a blast. And then the big one. I cannot wait for this. Throw dice like a girl. Yes, I did get their approval. They all voted for this title. So they're going to throw dice like a girl, and it's talking about the trials and tribulations, the triumphs of gamer girls. As I said earlier, some of my alternative titles were the horrors and heroinism of gamer girls, or the creeps and crits of gamer girls. We'll talk all those stories, both what the challenges are, being a female cosplayer, female D&D player, female video gamer. Rachel has had some really interesting experiences that she'll share with us. Female painter, Mystical Unicorn, Amanda will be on, and she's going to be talking about that, as well as Courtney. And so that is going to be the 22nd of March, appropriate because March, of course, is Women's Month. So we'll feature this Throw Like a Girl, and all of these great women will be talking about their experiences, the highs and lows. Mark your calendars for that. You are not going to want to miss these Lore Master Arcanum sessions. And then, of course, after Wednesday, on Sunday, we'll be back with Tears of Aird. Tears of Aird is a fairly new campaign. We're only a dozen sessions in. These children just adulted up, so they had a 7-year gap, and now they're all between 18 and 20 years old. Fantastic artwork from Cowboy Hobb, and the role play on Sundays is off the charts. You do not want to miss those sessions. They start at 1 o'clock Central. All right, Brim, why should you be Stream MVP?
You shouldn't. You can skip me.
Josh is going. Yeah, they say like when the kids are 2 years old, they go through that terrible 2 stage where everything is contrary. No. Josh has just waited until he was 17 to do that, and so Josh has been that way for the last couple of weeks.
Josh, it's the ripe old age of 17.
I'm the ripe
old
age of 17 and a half.
Actually, not with that stash, dude. You look like you're 30. Anyway, go ahead.
How you doing, big boy? No, Brim should be stream MVP because he's sorting through a lot of stuff. Like, he's just trying to figure it out, trying to lay the dead to rest, both literally and figuratively. That's about all I got.
All right, very nice. Josh, you, Brim, and I thought you role-played it really well tonight. Thank you very much. And look, Brim had a hard time, and you never responded. Am I okay to mention that, Josh? Or?
Yeah, I said you were.
Okay, I didn't see it, the text response. So keep Josh in your
thoughts.
thoughts.
Respond, you dummy.
All right, sorry, my bad. I was just doing this little thing called streaming. Josh is shaved. He's mostly shorn. He will be completely shorn by tomorrow because on Thursday he goes in for a pretty significant surgery. Josh has a deviated septum. He's had a surgery for it once already. It did not heal correctly. He has trouble breathing, and they're going to bust his nose and open him up. It's a surgical procedure. It's pretty significant, and so he's nervous about it. He's also got some others. Just keep Josh in your thoughts, in your prayers, if you were inclined to do so, as he will be cut open. Yeah, and cut open on Tuesday, and he'll be out for 2 weeks. So we'll still have Greyhawk Awakening, but Brim will be role played by some whoever I can pull in, a vagabond that will run Brim and hopefully kill him as we killed Balfino while she was gone.
I'm tempted. I was going to say I'm tempted to give it to Becca.
Yeah, give it
just
to Becca.
To let Becca play Brim.
All right, Brim, you will be rolling for Mike, Necromantic DM. I know we got to hurry. We're over 8 o'clock here. You got Mike. Quickly, why should you be stream MVP? Nerve.
Who doesn't like free candy? I know I like free candy. Everybody likes free candy.
Which was so actually, it's a really cool thing for your character given his race. Like, it makes sense. Like, he would bribe people with food.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I've given this particular idea of a character so much thought, especially since we got rats at my job. I'm a manager at Pet Supermarket right now, so he's been ruminating in there for a while. So yeah, no, he's full rat.
Like full rat?
Full rat, snacks and all.
All right. Okay. Any other thoughts on why you should be stream MVP?
Who doesn't like free candy?
I like it. All right. You will be rolling for Fraley. Patrick, you have it. Then Rory, tell us why you should be stream MVP.
Because Gimbal is the double G. He is the Gimbal glue. He starts out, of course, in the somberness that we're all in, but some of his nature starts to creep out with kind of the jokes and the jovialness, but at the same time still struggling with, is he too kind? Is he too passive? How do we find closure in this? But in that, still starting to get back some of the jokingness and the kind-heartedness and the lightheartedness.
Yeah. No, well said. And look, that's an important thing. And it's the players. I thought you guys did a great balance tonight, right? Because you don't want to stay in mourning forever. The role play is fun, but you have to move on from it at some point in that context. And how does this party do that and then also feel authentic, right? And that's a challenging thing. I thought the balance was played perfectly tonight, and Gimbal was a big part of that, which, frankly, he was all through book one. Gimbal was the comic relief in the dark moments, in the struggled moments. When things were heavy, Gimbal always had that little bit of wit or that strange thing he would do, and it was no different tonight. Thank you very much, Firefly. I appreciate that. So you'll be rolling for Keith. You've got Roger, and then I'll just say who I'm rolling for. I've got Sam, Shav Hunter. All right, so let's go around, let's roll, and let's get these folks out of here that have stuff to do. And let's start with you tonight, Bertha. Tell us who you're rolling for and make your roll.
That would be a really great question. Amanda, do you remember who I'm rolling for?
You had Asher. Dale, is Dale in? I didn't notice if Dale was in.
Asher, okay, perfect. Is Asher a sub?
So that's an intimate question.
Yes, and he is in, so go ahead.
Okay, so I first rolled a 7.
Okay, come on, you can do better for Dale.
Oh, I rolled another 7 double sevens. Guys.
Ooh, that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough for the
We're
Windale.
checking these dice. That's what I get for not using the new blue.
You got me beat.
All right. Did you already roll, Rory?
No, I did not.
All right. Tell us who you're rolling for.
I'm rolling for Roger.
Here we go. Good luck, Keith.
I got a 12 and a 17.
Oh, wow. Okay. 17 for Keith. Very nice. Go ahead, Josh.
Necromantic GM. That is a 16.
Okay.
And a 1.
All right. Go ahead, Hobbs.
Come on, Hobbs.
The stream MVP poll is up.
We can't let Rory win.
Upper right-hand corner, vote for stream MVP.
What's really terrible
all the time.
What's
Hey,
terrible
Lilith,
is what fell on
I
the
should have
floor
said
was a
Lilith
20.
is not available for stream MVP. She's not here. All right, that's fine. We'll let it go. Go ahead.
I don't add anything to that, right? Because I don't have anything
right.
to add. Okay, 18.
18, and you had who?
Fraley.
Oh, Patrick. Patrick has the 18. All right, and
Please, no one do better than an 18.
all right, and now I am
we go,
rolling for
John.
Sam. That's Shav Hunter. That is
It'll be my
a
first time winning it.
1 on the first roll, and a 7. You won it for Fraley 17.
Finally, Fraley, we did it.
Congratulations! Oh, and it's there. Oh, it's so close. So, Lilith with 8, Berta with
well done,
8,
Berta.
Brim with 4, Gimbal
It's
with
okay, forget
3,
Brim.
Nerve with
Come
1.
on, Berta. Vote for the creepy woman trying to take a child home.
I
If
voted
you're
for
watching
Berta,
right
like,
now
was
and
the
you
first
haven't
one.
followed, if you're a follower and you haven't subbed, if you're a sub
Berta.
whose sub has expired and you have not resubbed, what? Why? If you've got Amazon Prime, it's free. We have one question for you here tonight at Blue Box. What are you doing? Give us a follow. Give us a sub. Fraley, I'm pretty sure you're going to take the Troll Lord game stuff because you have a potato of a PC. I know that. But just confirm that with me. Still time to vote. It's so
If you
close.
haven't voted,
Vote for
Berta.
Stream MVP. Vote for Stream MVP. Vote for Stream MVP.
Yeah, there we
Vote
go.
for Stream
One more, Berta.
MVP.
Another
Vote
one
for
for
Stream
Berta. Come on, one
MVP.
more.
It's so close. It's so
Let's go
close.
to good 10.
It's so close.
Come on. One more.
Do you love your grandma? Vote for
You
Berta.
love your grandma. Bertha! In a complete
That's a shirt right there. If you love Berta.
in a complete screw with the DM moment, the player who had the least amount of time tonight and would play role play for 5 minutes wins Stream MVP. Congratulations.
Hey, that's how it should be.
And
Thank you.
thank you to all of you Mad Chatters. We're going to set up our raid. I want to say thank you to my players.
Okay, I got you guys.
It is I think significant to have 3 players who have now played for 3 years in a campaign over Zoom. This is not even a tape where we're joining together. This is across the distance from Canada, California, to Tennessee, to Michigan.
Taiwan.
You got people all over the country here for 3 straight years in a game. I gave all of these players a chance to opt out in 2 weeks ago last week after the TPK. And they may regret it now, but they all said they still want to be in as we go to book 3. Because this is a want-to only game. And these are amazing players, and I'm grateful to each of you. Thank you.
So what?
Thank you, all the Mad Chat. Yeah, they did jump right back into character. It's like putting on an old glove. They were fantastic tonight, and we are appreciative to all of the folks who have been with us. We're going to go ahead and raid Tara from Terra tonight because our friends at Guild Superior have taken the night off. So we're going to go ahead and raid over there, stay with us, and say hi to them. And on behalf of all the Mad Chatters, we love you guys, and all the players, we love you guys. Great job tonight. We are going to kick off the raid, and that'll hit in 10 seconds. Any final thoughts from my players?
Love you all.
Thank you,
Sometimes,
everyone.
yeah.
See,
All the
you
time.
guys will see Brim next week, but not me.
Yes, just pray for
Are they
Josh.
ball sacks?
He's going to fix his attitude. They're going to cut it out of him, and that'll happen in 2 weeks.
Finally, it's about time.
They're making
This week
less
it's the doctors
nosy.
for months.
We'll see you tomorrow night, 5:30 Central Time. Kyle from Mantic Games for Lore Masters Arcanum. This is Blue Box signing off.